Hey, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And today there'll be quite a lot of people. I'm just waiting for a couple of things. In the meantime, okay, my name is Elvin Craig. If you have any questions, please feel free to jot them down. Whatever it is which I'm speaking today, we will be sharing the PDF with you. So you don't need to take any notes. All you need to do is to just ask questions and be yourself. Okay? And ask yourselves and be yourselves. I'm going to share the slides in a short while. Okay, but in the meantime, while waiting for the rest to come in, please feel free to ask me any questions at all. Okay, before I start the introduction, right? Okay. I'll share the slides later in a short while, okay? But I want you to ask questions. Any questions you type in the chat box, not so much in the Q&A, so it's easier for me to handle. So who will be at the seminar today? Me, Alvin Craig, and Moses So. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about who we are in a short while, in case you do not know us. This program, okay, some of you asked, what is this seminar about? This seminar is about what we're going to do, how we're going to study, what we need to do to prep for PSLE so as to gain a respectable score. Okay? So how long is this session? This session is 2 hours. This time is important to commit this time because it can change your life and it can change your journey, because I speak this from experience, because we have taught thousands of students, and doesn't matter how they study, whether they're motivated to study and what they can do, all these things are very, very important, okay? Very, very important. Let me show you the slides in a short while. Okay, give me a while. Let me share my slides. And we're going to do some surveys in a short while when more people is here, because we need to know who you are. We need to know your expectations. Why expectations are important? Because all of us must start from somewhere, right? All of us must start from somewhere. All of us need to work towards something. Okay, some of you asked, I'm just looking at the questions here. We're not starting the seminar yet. I'm just looking at some of the questions here. Some of you asked, is AL4 achievable for a subject? It depends on who you are. Okay, it is not AL4. Let us not be confused. There is a very common error among all parents, among many teachers and schools as well. When they talk about your PSLE score, your PSLE score is a number. It is not AL. So when I hear people saying that, oh, I get a AL score of 12, I'm aiming for AL score of 6, this is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. Your PSLE, your AL achievement level is by subject. Now, it is very important to get this right now, because I hear numerous teachers saying that, oh, my student has a AL score of 9, which is wrong. Okay, you have a PSLE score, not an AL score. Your AL score is by subject. So let me get it clear. Your achievement levels only have got a certain number of bands, right? It will never go into double digit. So let us be clear. Subject is by achievement level. So if you're aiming for AL1, AL2, AL3, fair enough, that is by subject. You add in the individual AL for all the subjects, you get your exam score, not AL score. So this is very important, and it is a very, very common mistake, which I don't understand why it can happen, but we must get this right, okay? Okay, so when we talk about exam scores, it is the individual scores by total up, individual by subject, that will be your scores, okay? So when I see a question, is AL4 achievable for me? I am assuming that you mean PSLE score, not AL4, okay, by subject. Okay, let me show you the slides right now, and I'm going to share all these things with you. Give me a while. Okay. Share. Okay, can you all see my slides? Can you all see my slides? You all can see my slides? Will there be any recording? Yes, we will have the recordings for this, so not to worry. Not to worry, okay? We will have. So can everybody see the slides? Can? I don't. Okay, fine. Let's start. Okay, so if you look at the title of today's session, right, it is later, if you want to speak, no problem. We will give you the opportunity to speak. Okay, we'll give you the opportunity to speak. They asked me, am I from the MS Oral Workshop? I'm everywhere. Okay, I am everywhere. So I'm not necessarily tied to a subject. So I call myself the principal founder. So this seminar is actually for both students and parents. So please feel free to, yes, for those of you who asked, did I get in a car accident last week? Yes, I got in a car accident last week, which is why I'm having the seminar this week. So sorry about it. Okay, so who are your speakers for today? The speakers today, the main speaker will be me. I call myself the principal advisor. Yes, but I'm pretty familiar with MyStretcher because I've been here for the longest time. So I've been at MyStretcher for the last 20 years. And I was originally one of the co-founders for MyStretcher. So you pretty much see me around, be it master speakers, be it science, be it JC, be it Polytechnic, be it DSA talks. So I'll be the main speaker for today. And with me later on is Moses So as well. Moses So is the head of academic innovation, and he was the 2012 President Scholar. So we were here to share with you our experience and how to study. Okay, so it's very important, and very, very important. No question is ever too silly. Okay, no ever question, and every kid is different. So we need to recognize the fact that every kid is different. Okay, every kid is different. All your learning experience, all the phases of your journey, they are all different. There's no one size fits all, but everywhere is a journey. Fine? Okay, so where are we now? What is today's date? June 7, right? June 7. What is the implications of it being June 7? What is the implications of it being June 7? We have more or less 100 days. 100 days, we can do a lot of things, trust me. And this is very, very important, okay? Very, very important. 100 days, we can do a lot of things. If we are giving this seminar 10 days before the PSLE, then we can still do a little, but the impact is going to be not so significant. So 100 days from now, right now, we have 100 days until the PSLE. That's around 100 sunrises, 100 chances to get a little better. We can do it incrementally. The question isn't how much time you have left, it's what you do with it. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. So I'm giving you real examples. Later, I'm showing some slides. So we do have students, and these are real examples. We do have students. Let me give you an example. PSLE last year, just last year alone, in June, mid-year total exam score. Listen, these are real examples, not fabricated, real. Next time, we will get students to share. June mid-year, 15. Okay, this was just last year. June mid-year, 15, exam score of 15. Prelims became 11. PSLE got 6. Okay, so there are many examples. We have many examples. We have also students at the other end, no problem. June, PSLE score 23. They studied very hard, very motivated. Prelim, they brought it to 18. PSLE, they brought it to 13. Fantastic. I think all these things are fantastic things. So we need to be motivated, we need to be strategic, and we need to be focused going forward. Now, this is not a talk about fear, okay? This is not a talk about fear. This is a talk about what we have to do. This is a talk about we all need a certain level of belief. Just like whatever we tell students, right? If you think that you are not going to do well, you will never do well. 100%, I can assure you this. Okay, we have been through many cycles of this. So we need to make it such that it becomes a virtuous cycle. So it's not a talk about fear, it is talk about belief. When you rock out of this seminar today, yeah, I want you to say these 3 words, right? I can do this. Now, do this it is relative. And I always tell students, regardless of what level you're in, we can always improve. So let's say you are having a PSLE exam score of 7 now. You want to work towards 4. I think that's entirely possible, right? So you're at 10 right now. We try to get 8 or 7. I think that's entirely possible. If you are getting 15 right now, can we work towards a target of getting 10? Yes. I absolutely believe that this is entirely possible because all of us, no matter what level, no matter what circumstances we're in, we can always become better. So this is the mindset, okay? This is the mindset which we can do, okay? So number 1, first of all, it starts with a dream. And I'm going to share many examples. It starts with a dream. Okay, now before we start, so that we get to know you better, we are going to do a poll. okay, we are going to do a poll. Now, what is this poll? I want you to, okay, before we go to the poll, let's talk about a couple of things first, okay? So to get the context right. So the you who starts today, every day we got 100 days, right? So every day we climb 1%, 1% every single day. We'll come, and this will result in us being prepared on exam day, and we must know the format inside out. I think this is important because when we talk to students, whether it is at PSLE or O levels or in an IP exams, we realize that some of them don't even know the exam format, and we are in the critical year, right? So we need to know the exam format. Why is the exam format important? Because for me, PSLE, this is my frank opinion. PSLE 15% is exam techniques. Okay, this is my frank opinion, okay? 50% is exam techniques. You get your exam techniques right, we can get a good score. 100%. I'm totally confident of that. Okay? So we must know the format inside out, and we must go in with a level of confidence. We don't be too flustered. And the you, okay, so this is the future you. I think all of us should aspire towards being in the category. And the you who waits for motivation always starts tomorrow. Tomorrow will never come. Cramming, panicking, exhausted. Does it happen? Yes. I myself have been guilty of this in the past when I was a student. The reason why we're able to talk to you because we have all done this in the past as well, depending on our level. But over time, we became better and better. But again, we see many different types of students across all levels during the years, right? So cramming, panicking, exhausted, surprised by the questions, hopes for luck on the day. These are quite typical. These are quite typical. So when people say that we need to be lucky, yes, we all need to be lucky, but we can make, to a large extent, we can make our own luck. Okay, so surprised by the questions, cramming. And at this level, PSLE, you shouldn't really be surprised by the questions. And this applies also to oral, to composition, and so forth. You know, there is a reason why we have predicted all the oral questions and the composition questions from the last 7 years. Not because we were able to predict the questions, not because we are not because we are prophets who can predict the future. No, but the reality is because these are things we should absolutely have got to be prepared for. So this is what we call being exam smart. So which version of yourself are you building today? Okay. Now, I want you to think about it first. Okay. You think about your answer, you can put out in your chat, and I want you to speak out. Okay, so I'm going to give a opportunity to some of you. So it can be anything. I want to go to, maybe I give you an example. I want to go to River Valley High. I want to go to Bedok Green Secondary School. I want to go to Tanjung Katong Girls School. I want to go to ACSI. I want to go to Victoria School IP program. I want to go to, all right, no problem. Everybody has their own goals. So I want you to talk about the goals. I want you to go to NJC. I want to go to TJC. No problem. Everybody, there's no right or wrong answer. I repeat, but everybody should have a goal. Why is a goal important? Because we need to have objectives. If we have no goal, then it is very difficult. Okay, very difficult. Now, coming back to the question, why I say a goal is important. Now, some of you, I saw the question, some of you asked me, what PSLE score did I have? Correct? Some of you asked me, what PSLE score will I have? Moses will tell you about his PSLE score. I don't have a PSLE score, but how did I end up in RI? So think about it. I don't have a PSLE score. How did I end in RI? I tell you how I got an RI. Because I was an RI scholar. I was given a scholarship by the Singapore government. I was given a scholarship by the Singapore government to enter RI. That was like close to 40 years ago in the year 1988. Okay, so that's why I didn't have a PSLE score. Okay, that's the reason why I ended up in RI without a PSLE score, because I came from Malaysia. But before I got that, again, there was a goal. And it will come back to what we're going to talk about, why these goals are important. Okay, so later I'll come back to this. So talk about it. I want to okay, so I see a couple of comments here. I want to do my best and enter Anglican High. I want to get not AL4 for PSS score. I want to get, okay, so again, this is very important. Okay, this is I just want to give an example of this. I think this is really a good, I'm going to put this for everyone to see. Okay, I'm just giving some of the comments for all of you to see. I want to enter all of best. I want to be a better daughter. I want to go to Catholic. I think all these things are very good. I want to give my best effort for PSLE and go to River Valley School. I want to impress my parents and myself and not to let them go. I think these are all pretty cool. Okay, I think all these are pretty good. That's why we'll give you an avenue for you, because all these things I want it to be written down. Why I want it to be written down? So that we have a contract. What contract are we making with you? We'll talk about that later on. Okay, so this is important. We always need to have a goal, right? Goal number 2, your target. I want a PSLE score of at least. What is your PSLE score? It's not AL. I want a PSLE score, whether it's 4 or 5, 6, 9, 10, it really doesn't matter. But our version must be that. My dream school is this. So why is this important? Because all of us have dream schools. Without a target, we cannot get into our dream schools. Okay? So a score which you can see is a goal which you can choose. Now picture yourself receiving that. So we always need to. So that's why I always ask students, what school do you want to go to? Okay, and to be fair, we need to have at least 3 choices, because sometimes things don't happen the way we plan out to be. So we need to have some backup. But I think it's always cool to have all these things. Okay, I give it down in writing for you. Okay, now I want all of you to go to menti.com. Everybody can go to menti.com, because we are going to profile all of you right now so that we understand your scores and objectives better. Can you go to menti.com? The code is there. Okay, menti.com. The code is there. Code 47543360. Can? Okay, because we're going to go through a couple of questions. Everybody got the code there? Okay, so let me go to menti.com, which for you to share. Okay, so everybody can see the results live, right? Everybody can see the results live? Good. I want all of you to respond, and we're going to share with you the survey results. Okay, I want all of you to respond so that we can share with you the survey results. And really take a look at the things which are coming in. This is good, because this will enable, bearing in mind that there's no one size fits all, and thank you, teacher Mavis, who has joined us here today. Mavis is the head of English. So for those of you who are aware, teacher Mavis has been leading the English team when it comes to secondary English, primary school English, as well as oral distinction workshops. And yes, you see a master speakers as well, because Mavis is a very, very good speaker, right? So yeah, teacher Mavis has just joined us. Thank you very much. At any one time, Mavis, if you want to add in things, please feel free to add. Yeah. So everybody take a look. The PSLE score I'm aiming for, choose one. Remember, we are all at different phases. Don't be pressurized, just be yourself. But let's say you're having a PSLE score right now of maybe 18. We cannot be status quo. We cannot say that I still want to get 18. I don't think that is giving yourself justice. Okay? I think we need a little bit of 18. I think we stretch ourselves. Maybe you try for 14 or 15 or 13. Anything else bonus, it becomes real. So whatever objectives we have, it must be something which will stretch you, but at the same time, it cannot be status quo. But if you're already getting PSLE score of 4, 5 right now, 5, you can only improve to 4, right? 4, just maintain your status quo. Okay, so this is important. But by one point, I also want to tell you, so clear? Don't know. Okay, if you don't know, good, at least you acknowledge that you don't know, but it's time for us to set an objective. So if you don't know, I assume that you also do not know your current scores. Remember, these are not your PSLE scores. These are your school exam scores. Because they're your school exam scores, and then the final scores, we can always change. Okay, 100%. So when you look at the profile here, this profile is skewed. It's skewed. So you see, maybe this is the irony right now. The irony is that the students who are very motivated, a large portion of them are in this seminar. You see? So it's not a typical bell curve. Then this is the reason why we always tell you that, yeah, all of us must recognize this fact. So for the hardworking students, you want to become better. That's why you're in this seminar, which is good. But for those who are developing, I repeat now, just because you don't get good results now doesn't mean that you won't get good results always. And this is very, very important to understand, okay? We must all be better version of ourselves. As I mentioned, 100%. We got 100 days by now. Every day we increase by 1%. So you look at the profile. There's no right or wrong answer, but you can see that the profile, a number of you are aiming. So, okay, this is not a fact, but any score. Okay, so let me tell you around the national average. This is just statistically, okay, this is not a fact, okay? According to my estimate, I think the median score, national average, is probably in the range of 16 to 18. This is my guess. Okay, this is my guess. So anything lower than that, you should be above average, above the 50% mark. Again, this is my guess. It's just a statistical estimate, not a fixed amount, but it's good that you all have some idea. Okay. Yes, I think we can always try to get this good. So this is the first question. The next question is this. How do I? Okay, let's go on to the next question. Which subject do you feel most confident in? There's a reason why I say this as well, because later we're going to talk about studying, how you study for the respective subjects. Mathematics, champion. Mother tongue. Well, the rest are pretty. Mother tongue and English surprisingly around the same, huh? Mathematics, we look like we got a lot of mathematics champions here, which is good. I think it's important. It's good to be good at mathematics. So I want everybody to fill in the comments, because remember, and we're going to share the results with all of you so that you have a better idea. For those of you who raise your hands and we have not asked you to speak, I'm sorry about that. Later we'll give you the chance, okay? I just get this survey because it's important for us to hear you speak as well. Got it? 311-360. We wait for a couple more seconds. 362. So the interesting thing about this particular set of audience here today, there are around 400 plus of you. It's interesting that English, mother tongue around the same. It's pretty much around the same, okay? Okay, cool. Cool. Let's go on to the next question. The subject that worries me the most. Whoa, now we see mother tongue suddenly shut up. Boom. Oh. I want everybody to take a look at this as well, because it also has got to do how we study for respective subjects, okay? Which I will talk about it later as well. Mother tongue. Later I'll tell you my mother tongue story. And especially what I'm going to tell you is also especially important for those people who are not taking Chinese, because there are certain strategic ways of looking at it. Mother tongue is the champion in this category, the subject that worries by me. So I want to ask you the questions. I want you to type in. Why does mother tongue worry you? Okay? Why does mother tongue worry you? Why? For those of you who ranks mother tongue second, very good. Keep it up. Cause I suck at it, very common. So the question is, why do you suck at it? Right? So you must always underline that we must always go back to the underlying cause. But these are real concerns. Remember, there is no one fixed rule. All of us are different. Okay, cool. So at least we got the subjects. We are going to share these results with all of you, okay? So don't worry about that. Next, what is my biggest study challenge right now? Graham, you want to take the lead here? Okay. So option 1, not motivated. Option 2, distractions, phone, games, social media. Option 3, staying focused. Option 4, leaving things to the last minute, because these are real pertinent issues which all of us face at one time or another, right? Remembering what I study, stress and pressure, don't know how to study, don't know what to prioritize. These are all valid, These are all valid, Okay. Distractions. Okay, interesting, Is it interesting? No, it's not interesting. It's very common. Okay, it's actually what I expect as well. Okay, distractions, rank number 1. Staying focused. Okay. Not motivated, 72, 60, 14, 27, 46, 30, 22. Cool. Later we get maybes ahead of English to share some of the insights as well. And even as the point as a student, all of us are different. Very, very important. Okay. And it's cool. Fine. Right now, how confident do I feel about the PSLE? Not at all. A little confident, somewhat confident, confident, very confident. I don't know. Wow, right now people are thinking, is it? I got 0 responses so far. Responding is off.
It shows responding is turned off.
Okay. Uh, do I? Yes, thank you very much, Sadie. Okay. It there's no right or wrong. I repeat, it's not wrong, but it gives us an idea. It also gives you an idea of how the other students face relative to you. Okay, relative, and I don't know is a fair comment because I really do not know because I've not really undergone a major exam before, right? Yeah, I'm not ready for PSLE. It's a fair comment. Right now, 100 days, we still have time. I repeat, we still have time. There's a reason why we are conducting this seminar now. If we are conducting this seminar in August, the timeline has reduced drastically. Can we mix? Can we still improve? Yes, but the timeline becomes a little bit more compressed. Then you got to be uber super discipline. Okay, fine. So everybody has a rough idea already. So we will share the results with all of you later on. Thank you for taking part. And there's a reason why I'm asking these questions because we're going to cover all of this as well. Okay, we're going to cover all of this as well. Okay, let's go back to the slides. So you realize that different students, different. So again, I repeat, all of us must strive to achieve to be better version of ourselves. So if you right now you are scoring 6, we try to get 4. Okay, if you're scoring 8, we try to get 6 or 5. I think this is perfectly achievable. If you're getting 10, we try to get 8 or 7. If you're getting 20, we can try to get 17. Then later on, we try to get 14 or 13. If you're getting 25, no problem. We can work towards getting 20, then subsequently 17 or 18. I think these are all fair. This year, we gave a couple of most improved student awards at the MyStretcher Achievement Ceremony. Now, this ceremony is not just, so we get 700 plus recipients this year. Every year we have around that. But we do not just give the top students because we believe in inspiring all students. So those students who make dramatic improvements, like let's say your O levels from P8, F9, then you get A2, P3, I think you absolutely deserve a prize. Same thing for PSLE. Some of them this year, beginning of last year, they were scoring PSLE scores of 25 to 26. Then subsequently, when they push it down to 17 or 18, or even in one drastic case, push down all the way to 13, we actually gave them an award, a special achievement award, because I think they absolutely deserve it. So all of us are different places, but all of us need to have an idea of where we are going. Why is it important? Because where we are going would drive everything. Now, does this sound familiar? Yes. I have no motivation to study. Common. I'm always distracted. Phone, Roblox, Minecraft. Common. I just can't stay focused. Common. I leave anything. Now, I just want to give you some real examples, which is not in my slides earlier. Why is staying motivated important? And this is actually not just for exam. It is a life skill. Okay, very, very important life skill. And sometimes we have got to have some targets. We have got to have some motivation. Okay, at this point in time, why I say this? Because we have seen many students. So let me give you one example of one student. I will not name the names, but real student. But there are many different profiles, okay? So this student, this is a real student right now, secondary 3, okay? Secondary 3. I have known this student, we have known this student since primary 2, okay? Because she was here since primary 2 and she got into the GP. So at the time when she got into the GP, she was a very, very good student. So when she went into a GP school, okay, when she went to the GP school, so she transferred school because she entered the GP, right? She entered the GP, and in Sec 4, she was one of the top GP students in her school. Because you know why? Very motivated, very driven, okay? But somewhere along the line, primary 5. I know because I had to see her every semester to follow up. You know what happened in primary 5? She started playing games with her classmates, Roblox. Every day, she plays 4-5 hours for Roblox. Okay, but because the parents are not the parents are in a not so ideal situation. The reality is that um the circumstances were not so good. She was left on her own. Okay, every day 5 hours. So what do you think happened to her grades? What do you think happened to her grades? Implemented. So she was a GP student, implemented. So by the time she was in primary 5, she was getting 14 or 15, typical. Okay, 14 or 15. So when they came to me, want to apply for DSA, I told her very frankly, I told the parents frankly, I wouldn't, you can try, but I can almost guarantee. So I asked her, which school do you want to go to? She said that she wants to go to RGS and Nanyang Girls. I said that with these grades, you won't be shortlisted for your DSA at all, but we can try. No harm trying. So she tried. She didn't get it. Of course. And I told her, of course. Okay. I told her, of course. So what happened? Mid-year, her grades were still 15 because she was still playing Roblox. Still playing Roblox all the way. A lot of hours wasted. So what do you think happened for a PSLE? It, what do you think happened for a PSLE? Fail? No lah, she won't fail because it takes quite a lot to fail. You won't fail your PSLE. So remember, she is quite a smart student. But ultimately, what happened in the last 4 months? She finally woke up a little because every day she gets scolded by me. Not every day, every week I had to scold her through Zoom. Okay? And she finally dropped off her Roblox. Her prelim, she was 11. So from June last year, P5 was 15. June mid-year was 12. Prelim didn't improve much, 11. Okay, because still getting. But within the 2 months from prelim to PSLE, she put everything aside and worked very hard. What did she get? She got a 6. Okay, so with the score of 6, she technically could go to any school she wanted. Correct? So these are real cases. So we need to back, but we don't want to come to that. We don't want to come to that situation. I can't stay focused. I leave everything to last minute. So we'll talk about these points later and how you address them individually. Okay. What's your favorite excuse? I'm too tired. It's too hard. I have no time. I'll do it later. Now, as a student myself last time, you know what subject I like best? What subject do you think I like best? Let's talk about primary school. What subject do you think I like best? I like English the best. Yes, definitely I like English the best. Why? Very simple. I like English the best because I was the best at English. Okay? So I'm really good in that subject, but I keep on doing it. Even though it's not going to do me a lot of wonders because I'm really very good at English. But because it's something which is very effortless to me, I keep wanting to do it. I keep wanting to do it. And what happened? I neglected other subjects. Okay, why this is important? So this is a real scenario, right? For you as students, PSLE, you got 4 subjects, correct? Your English, your mathematics, your science, your mother tongue. Okay, let's not talk about your higher mother tongue or whatever because higher mother tongue doesn't go into the PSLE score. It appears as a prefix only relevant, suffix only relevant if you want to go to a SAP school. We'll come to that at another seminar. So the reality is that many students avoid focusing on subjects which they are weak in. This is not ideal, okay? This is not ideal because all you have to do is to get hit by a weak subject. You get 4 or 5 straight away. Your score becomes very high. This is the reality. This is the reality. And next time, I'm going to get another student who to share with you because we just met the student last week. This student is now very good. Okay, this student is now very good. Just finished his A levels, all A's. So right now get a scholarship at the various universities to study. So this, but let me tell you what happened. in the year 2019 when I first met him. I met him, but I taught his elder sister as well. So this student is an okay student. He's pretty good in all his subjects, except one subject. What is it? Mother tongue. Why mother tongue? Because you see, many Indians, they take a mother tongue, but they don't use that mother tongue because it is not their native language, right? But you don't have many options. You either take Hindi or Tamil, even though they are not Hindi or Tamil, right? So they took it. So he was always struggling to pass. We're not even talking about scoring. So I told him, so I asked him, what score do you want to get? What school do you want to get to? He says that he wants to get to RI. So I told him that you want to go to RI, the equation is very simple. We need to address your mother tongue. If your mother tongue is barely passing, you can never get to RI because it should be hit you with a 4 and a 5. Correct? Should we hit with a 4? So what did he do? And I said that you don't need to keep because his other subjects were pretty good. So he doesn't need to. So I told him, but he kept avoiding his mother tongue, no? He kept avoiding his mother tongue because and I'm too tired. It's too hard. It's too hard. Very common. It's too hard. Okay? It's too hard. I have no time. I'll do it later. So it became very, very difficult. So in mid-year, he was still barely passing. So it requires you to switch your mindset. There I told him, in all fairness, right now, I want you, given your aims, given your objectives, I told him, very frankly, I think you should invest three hours a day on your mother tongue. Learn all the words. Learn how to write all the compos because you don't know the words, you cannot write the compos, you don't understand your comprehension. I told him you got to commit to memory. There's no shortcut. And what happened in PSLE? He got a 2. Was really, really happy. So did he end up RI? Yes, he ended up in RI. Okay. So I think all these things are important. So excuses feel comfortable today, but they cost you dearly tomorrow. This is always a fact. So I'm going to share. So the power of 100 days. Okay, this is the power of confiding. The success principle number 1, as I mentioned, from now to PSLE 100 days, your ability, whatever it is, we improve by 1% every day. Okay, so if you wait for motivation, you will never be inspired. We remain at this level, always. But if we improve 1% every day, you don't become 100% better, you actually become 2.7 times better, 270%, because it is compounded, right? So this is the power. So whatever, and this applies to all types of students, whether you're aiming for PSLE score 4, 5, 18, 20, 8, but we must always become better. 100%. Can we become better? Yes. We can always become better version of ourselves in whatever things we do. This is an absolute big good. We may not be the top student, not important. Not important. What is important is that we become better at each subject every day. Okay, so we must know this. So that's why I said 100 days, we can do a lot of things. So everybody can remember that. So for some of you, when I see your questions, is it possible to get PSLE score 4? Yes, you can. You can. Okay, you can. Is it possible to shave off 4-5 points from your PSLE? Yes, you can. Because the most important exam is your PSLE, not your school exam. So clear? So consistency beats intensity. I always say this because there is no way you are going to be. There's no way you can. Okay, I just give you one example. Every time I tell students, even maybes, we tell you that when you go to secondary school, you need to be able to speak. Being able to speak well is actually very, very important. You may score 4D for your English, but you can't really speak. This is a fact, because we teach many students and master speakers. They may get 4D, but they can't speak. Okay, when I say can't speak, I ask them to come out and speak. All cannot, zip, because they need a script and they need to write and they cannot speak spontaneously. This is a fact. This is a typical profile of many students. Nothing wrong with this. But the reality is, you see, there's a reason why I say this. Because many of these students, they actually do well in exams, but they come and see me for scholarships. This is where the problem. So after the A levels, we got students coming to see me, whether they're applying for this scholarship, whether they're attending this interview. And I'm very frank with you. 50% of the time, I cannot help them. Why? The scholarship event is next week. The workshop, the selection process for the university is next week. And they have no confidence in speaking. It's not something which, even if you practice so hard for 7 days, can you become a better speaker? No, it doesn't work like that. Speaking confidence has got to be gained. You got to do it progressively over time. Then you become better and better and better. You cannot just do it like that. So consistency beats intensity. Yes. You just get, while we still have time, when obviously when we are nearer and we don't have enough time, we got to change this strategy. Okay. So this strategy is just the power of 100 days. Get better and your 2 times 100 days, 100%. 10 focused practice questions a day instead of a panic all-nighter. And this is true. You know why? Because there are certain subjects which will cause you to panic more. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about mathematics question. If you don't understand the question, you don't study, when it comes to the exam, you panic, you can literally panic and switch off. Okay, the fear is real. Okay, but we also need to be strategic. Does it mean that we got to answer all maths questions? No, we don't need to. All we have to do is to get the easy questions and the average questions right. The 2 or 3 questions which are difficult, which always exist in PSLE, not so critical. We get them right, great. We don't get them right, no problem. We will still have our AL1 and AL2. So that's why I always say that PSLE is just like that. We don't need to focus on all the hard questions. We got to focus on getting the bulk of the 80 to 85 questions right. Then we are there already. Then we can do a little bit more for the harder components. We get AL1 and AL2 already. Okay, is there any shortcut to improve maths to 75%? Okay, this is my frank opinion. I'm going to tell you my maths story in a short while. Okay, so 10 focal questions a day, panic. So if this applies also to, let's say you're weak in your mother tongue, what do you do? Let's say you're Chinese. Chinese different from English. You get all the words given to you. Students are weak in Chinese. Why? Because they don't pay, they don't memorize, they don't learn the words, which is a tragedy. So what do? You memorize them. Start memorizing instead of playing your computer games. Instead of looking at TikTok, instead of doom scrolling, instead of telling me about the Italia, Balania, whatever it is, make sure you learn your words. There are no shortcuts to it. Okay? I give you another example of one of our students. This is a real student, huh? She attended this seminar 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Then I received an email from her. Very rarely I receive email from students because this girl was very motivated. You know what happened to her? She got PSLE score 4D. Distinction in higher Chinese. It is not unique. What is unique is that she is an Indian. She is an Indian. Higher distinction in Chinese. And she didn't, and she's not Singaporean. She came from India. Came from India in primary 1. Because she was a math teacher from primary 1. So for her, that's why her parents invited me to go for dinner with them because we actually, so what happened? So when people say that I don't have the environment, then I said, what about this girl? So this girl was very clear. She even shortlisted all her schools she wanted to, all objectives. I scanned her, so I asked her. So she asked me. So I told her with 4D, you can go to any school you want. But I will recommend her and to her parents that she goes to Nanyang Girls. Why? Because Nanyang Girls, they're going to make her a superstar because she's the only Indian among all the Chinese. And true enough, they feature her and everything. So we need to be strategic because I also help her get into Nanyang Girls debate team, right? So everything. But you look at her, very consistent. Every day, she memorizes the Chinese words. There are no shortcuts. Okay, there are no shortcuts. And for her, Indian, no environment. Her parents cannot speak. She's the only one doing it. She still gets her 4D. Okay? So that's why I said 10 focus. If you are weak in your Chinese, please make sure you spend 20 days, learn 20 words a day. Make sure it's done. Revisit again tomorrow and so forth. We talk about strategies later. Success principle 1, the power of 100 days. Success principle number 2, the most powerful word yet. Okay? I can't do this size question. No problem. I can't do it yet. Okay? My English is weak. My English isn't where I want it yet. Yet is a very powerful word. I'm just not a maths person because you see, it is very important. And this mindset is really, really critical because parents and students tell me that, oh, my kid is only good in English. My kid is only good in science and maths. That's why die must go to NUS High because it's weak in English. I said that if you have this mindset, you will never be good in the subjects which are not out of your comfort zone. This will always be true. So the most powerful word you must understand is yet. Okay, at your level, I'm not saying that we can do everything. Why I'm saying things like for instance, I want to be like I want to be as youthful looking and dance as well as BTS. Yet at my age, 54 is out of the question already. So we need to be realistic. But when it comes to things like that at your phase in development, I think there are a lot of things we can do. Okay. So remember, the most powerful word is yet. So let's say you are scoring AL5 for your maths yet. Maths, you say no problem. Right now, my aim is to get AL3 for maths. I may not be at this stage yet, but I'm going to try my best. Okay. The best is yet to come. Okay. So the way all of us can always be better. That's why it is important to understand. It's important to make targets for each subject. Where you are now, where you want to go. Okay. We'll talk about that in the short. I'm going to give you the templates. These are real Singapore stories. And the reason why I brought this is because they were all in the papers. So if you do not know them, let's talk about a little bit now before I bring in real cases about students. Shanti Pereira, she's been in news for the last couple of years. In a single week, she lost 2 scholarships, sports scholarships. People lost faith in her. She fought back. And this is already historic because, as I mentioned, she has been featured time and time in the paper. So I think we need to know them because they're national athletes. And this was what she said. When I was at my lowest, it was the people around me that helped me get through it all. So champions are not just the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who refuse to quit. And this is important. We all struggle at all phases of our life. Okay. But we must always become better version of ourselves. Wait, is it possible that, okay, hold on. I just want to, before I go on, is it possible if the total AL we scored last year is 18? Is it possible to get? Yeah, I think it's entirely possible. I give you some real cases. Yes, it's entirely possible. All you need to do is to cut down your AL by subject by 2 or 3. There you have it. It's possible. It doesn't mean that it will definitely be achieved, but it's possible. We can aim towards that if we want. New was another one. Let me tell you a secret about me. I was not the natural. So I'm going to share with you my story here right now. Let's talk about my maths. Okay? So that you have an idea of the maths level. I got a MOE scholarship to study in RI. The scholarship is not so easy to get because there were 30,000 applicants Southeast Asia and they only chose 18. So not so easy to get after many, many rounds. But let me tell you what happened when I went to RI. I went to RI in Sec 3. That's why I didn't take my PSLE. I was a Sec 3, Sec 4 RI scholar. But being a scholar also means that they put you in the best class. Okay? And I tell you why. That's why you say pressure. Let me tell you my experience. On my very first day in RI, there were 18 of us. I was the last batch at Grange Road. Grange Road. Right now, RI is at Bishan, right? I was last batch at Grange Road. You know what? That's why I said pressure comes with everything. It depends on how you adapt it, depends on your motivation. So I'm telling you the real story. So what happened? And I need to give you this context. Why is this context important? Because it affects everything I did later on. Okay? So the very first day I got to school, the RI principal, Eugene Vijay is a legendary RI principal. Not all RI principals are legendary. Eugene Finger is a legendary because he's a fantastic speaker, fantastic motivator. So what happened? We were all brought, 18 of us, we were brought into the room with our parents because it's the very first day they welcome our parents as well. It was supposed to be a tea party, welcome tea party to RI. So let me tell you what happened. The first sentence is said, welcome to RI, and we hope that you have a great time here. And that was the only welcome statement. After that, straight down to business. The next sentence was pretty shocking to me because I came from this small town called Batu Pahat. So it's different from most of my friends. They were all from KL, Penang, the bigger cities, right? So I was from this small town called Batu Pahat. The next sentence came as a shock to me. You know, what did the principal say? That's why I said the pressure starts ramping. Let us be under no illusions why you're here today. You're here in RI for one reason only. The reason why the government gives you scholarship is only for one reason. Your job is to beat the Singaporeans in their O levels. Okay? So your job is to beat all the Singaporeans in their O levels. Then you say, think about it. If you can't beat the Singaporeans, why is the government giving you a scholarship to study here? Which makes absolute sense. Okay? But you see, people like me, we are now stunned. So no, then he went on. So the equation is very simple. You must study hard, you must study harder, you must study the hardest. Make sure you beat the Singaporeans in RI. Then do well in the O levels, and we can consider extending your scholarship to junior college. If not, I'm sorry to say that your scholarship journey will end at the end of Sec 4. Now, this for me was a big problem because my parents were not rich. My parents were only earning 1,200 ringgit a month. I was the eldest of four. If I don't have a scholarship, I'm dead. I can't even study here. Okay, I can't even study here, right? And if you think that those people in those days, 88, 89, people don't have tuition, you're wrong. 80% of my RI classmates in my class had tuition. I had no money, so no tuition. Okay, so this was the reality. So for me, the pressure starts. Okay, because I need to beat the Singaporeans. If I don't beat the Singaporeans, I don't get my scholarship. I don't get my scholarship, I'm dead. I cannot go back to Malaysia because they don't recognize my O-level cert. I cannot study in Singapore because I need the money from the scholarship to study in Singapore. So the pressure starts. So this was what happened. And you see, the only subject which I'm pretty good at, which I'm a natural, I would say is English. English, I'm a natural, so I don't need to study English ever in my life. I just go in, I take the exam. I don't need to do any past year paper. I don't need to study in the past. I just take from young till now. Okay, but maths, I had a problem because I was relatively weak in maths. And you must understand the system in Malaysia. Back where I come from, you know, right now at primary 3, you have the simple question, right? Farmer Ali had 200 cows. Farmer Ali wanted to get married. He slaughtered 372 cows. His relatives gave him another 322 cows. How many cows did he have in the end? This was my mathematics in Batu Pahat in lower secondary. So you just imagine, these are questions which you all do in primary 3. I did in lower sec, and this was all I had. So when I came to RI, I was dead because I was, as I mentioned, the top class in RI. Top class in RI is not a joke. Everybody seems to be mathematics genius. So what happened to me? And I couldn't understand the question. So no matter how I did, I got this fear. This fear was very real. So you see what happened? So even though I tried to study in advance, because my foundation was not good, I failed. Okay, I had a fear. I had a fear. And the fear was very, very intense, very, very real. After 1 month in RI, you know what? I was staying in Hwa Chong Hostel at that time. What happened to me? I covered my RI badge because I felt I was in the wrong school. I was going to die in this school. I covered my RI badge because I felt I couldn't do the mathematics. So when the maths exam came, I see what happened. The maths exam came mid-year. In my mind, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. No matter how I start. Did I fail? Yes. And I didn't just fail. I was the only one in RI who failed. So how do you think I felt? I was only one. I had 44%. Okay? The average mark in RI was a low 60 plus. This hero here got 44%. Dead. Okay? Then again, the principal's words coming, right? If you don't do well, not right now, let's not even talk about beating the RI students. Right now, I'm now last in the school. Okay, so what did I do? I decided to go back. I wanted to go back to my kampung school. Back in Batu Pahat, I don't need to study because the competition is not there. So I don't really need to study. There was no stress. I just do a little bit. I can be top in my school. So I decided to go back. So on that day, I decided to queue up to make a phone call to my father. I want to tell him that I told my roommate that I'm going back to Malaysia already. Okay, because I said Singapore is too tough for me. I cannot do mathematics. I said I'm weak in mathematics. I'm hopeless in mathematics. I'm going to fail. Okay, so what happened? So, but when I pick up the phone and listen to my father, he asked me how was I studying, and I couldn't say out the words that I'm going back. I actually pack up my bags already. I just need to take a 3-hour bus from Johor Bahru, from Singapore to Batu Pahat. 3 hours. I actually booked my ticket already. I actually went to Johor Bahru to book my ticket because at that time no internet, no internet, not like now, no online booking, no nothing. You got to physically book it, right? But when I heard my father's voice, I couldn't bring myself to do it. But that was not important. Why I say this? Because I changed my mindset completely. And it only took me 4 months. So I tell you what happened. So then when I heard my father, I decided that I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't give up on myself. So what did I do? I told myself that, fair enough, I said that I may not be smarter than almost all the guys in RI, but it doesn't matter. But I'm sure I'm not the last guy. This was my my objective was very simple. I said that I may not be so smart compared to the rest of the students in RI, but I definitely cannot be the last guy. Why I said I definitely cannot be the last guy? Because after all, it was really difficult to get this scholarship, Got 30,000 applicants, they only chose 18. I cannot be the the last guy. And the reason why I say this, because among the 18 of us, out of the 18 of us, 6 were among the top 10 students in RI, It's not, so my batch of scholars was extraordinary. The first, second, fourth, fifth, sixth were all from my peers. So I cannot be that bad. I cannot be last in school. So I changed my mindset completely. What I did was, right, I told myself that from right now, I'm going to study very, very hard. I'm going to be very disciplined. I said that maths is my weakest subject. I'm going to study my maths every day. Since I'm weak in mathematics, I start from foundation. I start from actually Sec 1 and Sec 2 because I didn't have the Singapore foundation. I practice every day. I practice for 3-4 hours. Okay, every day, very disciplined because it was a weaker subject, and this caused me a lot of problems. Then what happened? 4 months. So mid-year, I got 44%. Then came the end of the year exam. End of the year exam, I felt that I could do the questions. Okay, 3-hour maths paper, 3-hour maths, I finished in 2.5, and I thought that it's easy for me. I definitely will not fail for sure. And for me, the A1 mark is 75%. For me, no problem. I will definitely get 75%. I'll definitely get A1. When the results were released, RI list the name of the top 5 students by subject. I saw my name on the mathematics top student list. Number 3, the whole of RI. Top mark 99.5. Second, 99. Third was this joker here, 98.5. Okay, everybody was shocked. I was also shocked. I expected to do well, but I didn't expect to do that well. So what did that tell me? That told me a couple of things, no? So I applied this principle. So there were many students in my class who were better than me in mathematics, but still I beat them. Except for the number one. Number one of 99 was from my class. And I realized, how did I beat them? Because my attitude is AL0. So my attitude is AL0. I kept trying, I kept studying. Any question I don't know, I make sure that I know. So once I get my basic principles right, I'm able to do it. So with this principle, I applied to all my subjects. That was why it was easy for me. Subsequently, I was among the top 4-5% of students in RI. Just by applying this principle, not because I was the smartest, but because I worked very, very hard. Okay? Okay? Yeah. So that's number 1. Number 2, mother tongue. Right? Maths, mother tongue. Mother tongue is real. Now remember, this was a situation when I was in Malaysia. But why is this? Why am I bringing this story? Because it is important for me to get an A, to be shortlisted, to be even shortlisted for the Singapore scholarship. So if I don't get an A for Malay, I took eight subjects. At the national exam, I need to get all A's to be shortlisted. If I have a B or a C for Malay, I cannot be shortlisted. We're not talking about selected, we're talking about shortlisted. Because there are many applicants, they're not going to see everyone, they'll shortlist everyone, right? So they're going to shortlist only 4,000 students to sit for the test in RI, English, mathematics, and IQ. So I was a problem. Why was it a problem for me? Because I hated the Malay language. I told you, right? Why did my English become very good? One of the reasons is because I read a lot of English storybooks. A lot. I think in primary school, I would have read thousands. And these are the classics, right? Agatha Christie, Tom Clancy. So I read all these books multiple times, and my English became really, really good. Okay. But I hated the Malay language. Remember, the national language of Malaysia is Malay, and I hated it. Because I hated it, I was very weak in it. I don't have the vocab. I don't have the words. I cannot write a decent composition. So in Sec 1, I realized that I was bottom 3 in my class. But because I had the aim to get the Singapore scholarship, I realized that things would have to change, right? Because remember, I need to take the national exam in the next year, and I was now 1 year away, and I was bottom 3 in my class. So what did I do? That's why I said everything happens for a reason. This applies to all of you as well. So what did I do? I told my mother. My mother was a geography teacher at a convent school. I told my mother, Right now, stop borrowing all the English storybooks on me. I told her, no more English storybooks on me. I told her, borrow from the convent school library all the Malay storybooks. But because my Malay is weak, I told her, don't bring me the difficult Malay books. Bring me the Malay storybooks with big words and one picture, one page got one picture one. Okay, that was my level at that time. I said, nothing complicated, just let me read. For the first 2 weeks, I read it. Okay, and this was the first thing I did. Second thing I did, I told my mother, can you subscribe Malay newspapers for me? She said, you like Malay? I said that I need to do something about my Malay because the Malay has a lot of current content and good phrases to use. So what I did was that through these sources, I copied all the good words and the good phrases and I tried to learn them. Okay, I tried to learn them. The first 2 months were very difficult for me because almost everything I couldn't understand. But the more I did it, the better I became. After 4 months, now I started, hey, now I quite like reading the Malay storybooks, just as fun as English storybooks. You know why? Because right now, I understood the language better. So within 1 year, within 1 year, from being bottom 3 in my class right now, at the end of Sec 2, I was now the #1 student in Malay in my school for composition writing. Because right now, I find that I had all the tools to write. Okay, and I didn't have tutorial classes. Why? No money. Many of my friends said, because my parents are not so rich, again, no money. Yeah. So did it change? Yes. I finally got an A, and that was what gave me the opportunity to come to Singapore. So again, I've just told you what happened in primary school and secondary school for mathematics and Malay, mother tongue and mathematics, which is a real thing. So when I see a comment just now by a student, can I get AL3 for my mathematics? Yes. But we need to be strategic, focused on getting at least the 85%, the easy questions in primary one and in sec one, sorry, in paper one and paper one first. Make sure you get the bulk of the questions there. Then for the other topics, we need to look at the trends, need to look at the percentage, focus on those, okay? Cool. Story number 3, I'll never be good. This one, I won't go through it in great detail again because my teacher told me I was head prefect of my primary school, but because of a disaster, I never got to speak. And my teachers told me I never become a good speaker. I've proven to them wrong because right now we teach as master speakers, we teach many of the top speakers in Singapore of all the schools, okay, of all the competitions. But that's another story. So again, everything comes from the mindset, right? So if I could rise from a failed maths exam, bottom 3 in Malay, and you never speak well, then so can you. I think this is always smart. I'm not expecting all of us to be like me, no, but all of us can definitely be better. 100%. Just the same like how we tell students, right? When it comes to speaking, you see, I say that it is not important that you're not the national champion of speaking. It's not important that you're the top debater in school, but what is important is that you become a confident speaker. And that one, I can almost guarantee anybody who does it, anybody who follows these principles, anybody who comes on us, you definitely become a much better speaker. 100%. Can I guarantee you that you win the national speaking championship? No, I cannot. Because some of this depends on the quality of the judges and some luck. This is true, right? And whether you're prepared for that subject. But when it comes to becoming a confident speaker, I can absolutely guarantee you that here at Master Speakers and Mindstretcher, our students are the top speakers in Singapore, as a fact. Okay, so this is something which we need to mindset. Now, belief is a spark, a system is the engine. So you must have the inner belief that you can be better version of yourselves. Then after that, you need to have an engine. Okay, so what is this engine? This is the part 3. Maybe at this point in time, are there any questions which we should handle?
No, yeah, they're just sharing, they're just asking like how do you do it? But I think I've addressed them already.
Okay, belief is a spark. So number 1 is the belief. Number 1 is the system. So first system, break the big goal into small ones. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you want to get, let's say you get you want to get a PSLE or a score of 6, break down your goals. English, I want 1. Science, I want 1. Chinese, 2. Mathematics, 2. Total, you get a 6. So we need to break it down. Okay, you cannot say that I want to get a 17. How? I always tell how, because we need to be strategic. Why we need to be strategic? Because obviously we can be better in some subjects, right? So if you get a 1, you may have some buffer for the other subjects. That's why we need to break it down. Okay, so all of you, you need to have the system, put down your goals. I'm going to give you the templates. All of you fill it up, you submit it through the system, keep it for yourself. We're going to send it to you after the seminar next week. So it's important to have all of these. English. So number one, your goal. Your goal. Why this is important? Because this system will determine what school you get in. What school you get in is not so much the name of the school. I tell you why we need to try to do well for our PSLE so that we have more options. Okay, it doesn't mean that PSLE will define you as a person. No, it is. When people say that it's a super high stake, I won't say super high. It is important, but it's just one of many milestones. Is PLSE more important than the O levels? More important than IP year 4? No, no. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes it is sensationalized. High stakes exam? No, it is an important exam. Is it high stakes? It is high stakes at this level, but is it more important than your A levels, than your polytechnic exams, which determines which course you enter the university? No. University, JC, polytechnic, way, way more important. O levels, way, way more important. So we need to get this clear. But in order to do that, we need to go through this phase first. Okay? In 4 subjects, borderline, how to spend the time for revision. This is a good question. Let's come back to this question later on. Please keep asking the questions. If we miss the questions, because there are many of you, don't worry. I repeat, if we miss the questions, all your questions here, we're going to save them. Roy, please take note. We need to save all these questions. Then we will hold a follow-up seminar for all of these as needed, or we give you the FAQ and all the strategies. Okay, I'll try my best to look at it. So number one, big goal into small ones. We need to be strategic. The subjects which you are better, we aim for a better score. The subjects which are weak, we don't need to aim for perfection. We just aim 2 or 3 scores by year. Start from finish line, work back. So number one, okay, set direction, your goal. After that, work backwards. What you want to do. That's why I say everything was a target end June, end July, end August, early September. By end of June, make sure that this critical June period is a time when you pack your bags, everything. Get your house in order. If you're playing Roblox, cut it. If you're having doom scrolling, cut it. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Just 2 weeks ago, I met a set of students. I asked them, how many hours do you spend a day on your handphone? He said 2 hours. 2 hours doing what? TikTok law, doom scrolling law, YouTube shorts law. We got no time for this nonsense. I use the word nonsense. We need to be disciplined here right now. 100 days is for you to be disciplined. So that at the end of 100 days, no matter what we do, if we gave you a best shot and the results don't meet expectations, at least we tried. You don't want to have regrets. And whether you succeed in your PSLE, it doesn't matter, because with this discipline, subsequently, you can apply all stages of your life. Very, very important. So by end of June, all topics review once, know your weak areas, as I always mention. Now, how to study for weak areas? Weak areas, we also need to be strategic. Is it a lot of marks? Okay, let's talk about science. Science. Which topics always got 9-10 marks on? Tell me. For those of you, all of you study science, right now you must know. I think we covered this in our science bootcamp as well. Science. What are 3 or 4 topics will really be around 30-40 marks? Which are some of these topics? Heat transfer, forces, energy, electricity, which combine with magnet? Yes, pretty tangled. 9-10 marks all the time. Can you afford to skip these topics? No. Magnet is always combined. Magnet will combine with the electromagnet, with electricity. Okay, all these topics are important, but some topics are more important than the rest, so we cannot afford to skip. So we need to be strategic. And why I say this? Because let me give you a simple example. Let's say you don't know a particular maths topic, which is you're very weak in. But if you look at the PSLE trend, PSLE for me, this topic, I'm just giving you one example. It may not be real. Let's say for circles and perimeters, or every year comes out around 3 or 4 marks only. And you are very weak, but you're weak in all the rest so as well. So make sure you get the basics right. This one, you may want to do it later on when you have more time. Okay, you need to know your weak areas. So let's talk about English. Let's talk about mother tongue. Oral is important. I repeat, oral is important. Why? Because it's a low-hanging fruit. Okay, so that's why when we conduct all the workshops by Mavis and the rest of the team and all our AI tools, please make sure you are in the system so that you know it, because this will actually help you address many of these. End July, week topics restudied, corrected, have to know. End August, past year and prelim purpose. But your past year and prelim purpose, you can actually, when I say done under time, means with a specific time pressure, okay? But you need not wait for then. You can actually do it right now. It doesn't mean that you do it in the past, you cannot do it again. You know, I became one of the very good students in RI just by doing one thing. I did the past year papers many times. I did it until I could do everything. Okay? The more I did it, it doesn't matter. Every time I do it, because if I can do it again, it means that I'm very good at it, right? So what I do for all exam questions, which is why I always tell parents and I tell all parents and students, number one, you need to know what you do not know. So what do I mean by this? The only way to know what you do not know is by practicing the questions, drills. There are no two ways about it. So let me give you one example. How do you study for science? How do you, if you think you study science, reading the notes, the days are over already. Right now, your job at this point is to start practicing all the science questions, whether it's this school, that school, PSLE, or what. PSLE, you do it by topics, it doesn't matter, okay? Make sure you know. And every single question you don't know, you must circle. Why I say you must circle? Because you have to revisit it. This is the only thing which I did in RI. I make sure that every question I don't know, I revisit it. I make sure I know how to do it again. Why do I say this? Let me give you an example. Let's say you are in school. You look at the maths question. The teacher press your answer, but you got it wrong. I've done this experiment many times. I ask them, do you understand how to do this maths question? He said, Mr. Greg, I know already. I said, how do you know? He said, I copied down the solution. So I asked the student, if I cover this solution, I ask you to do it again. Can you do it? He said, 90% of the time, I did this experiment over the years, they cannot do it again. They still get it wrong. Okay, same for science. Science, you must understand the concept. Okay, so there is no big magic for science. Science, I'm very frank with you. If you have done enough questions, I would dare say that 90% of MCQ is a pass-fail question. Okay, there's only so much I can ask you. Science, there is no formula, there is no equation, there is no computation, no complex computation, basic addition, subtraction. Yeah, okay, but in secondary school, it becomes a little bit of equations, calculations come in, right? So what can I ask you about magnets? It's always the same, right? Whether it's magnetic, non-magnetic, the behavior of the poles, how do you become an electromagnetic, types of magnetic, and so forth. Only certain things I can ask you. So if you've done enough questions, every question, you've done it. That's why I always tell you drills. Drills are very important, okay? And every question you don't know, so don't throw away your past year paper. Don't throw away because you got low mark. These are the questions we should absolutely. So when I study my exam file, whether it's in secondary school, JC, or university, I always have my exam past year paper, and those questions, those which I got right, those which I got wrong. So wrong ones, I would circle it, highlight in yellow, so that I make sure I revisit. Why is this important? Because it is fundamental principles. Okay, it is fundamental principles, right? So where are we? So okay, so there's no way to know what you do not know except by doing questions. I repeat, you need to do questions over and over and over again. Build up your vocabulary for English. So vocabulary, how do you build? I'm just giving you right now a rough overview, right? So everything comes in. English, how do you become better in English? Number one, you better practice the oral. So whatever oral resources we're giving you, whether it's Chair AI, whether oral distinction workshops, make sure you attend, because our teachers, let my teacher Mavis, they are going to show you how it is done. And all our notes, all these free resources, make sure you utilize them. Very important. For maths, no shortcut. You got to practice strategically. Why I say strategically? Make sure you know your basic questions. Okay, difficult questions we can know if we have time, but if not, just focus on it. We need to be strategic. Okay, it doesn't mean that we need to cover everything. We need to cover everything strategically. Because let me give you an example. If like some students, we are training them for the Trinity exams. They say that, oh, I only got 86 for the Trinity grade 7 exam. It's a wasted because I want to get over 90. I said, it really doesn't matter, right? 85 is a distinction. It doesn't matter if you get 85, 86, or 99. What is written on the cert is a distinction. So same thing like your AL1, correct? Your AL1 is 90 and above. You get 90 and above, you get AL1. Whether it's 90 or 100, the score is the same. In the PSLE, PSLE scoring system, your score matters because everything is relative, but not under the current system. Whether so you grade at 91 or 99, it doesn't matter. In the previous scoring system, there's difference between 99 and 91, or 99 and 97, 98, so forth. Okay, but under the new scoring system, no. Clear? So weak topic study and recorrected. So you need to know what you don't know, and it depends on your subject. So your weaker subjects, let's say you're giving 5, you're scoring 5 and 6 for both your science and maths, you really have got to put some time into science and maths. If you're relatively good in your Chinese and English, like you're having 2, you may want to devote more time to your science and maths because all subjects get hit. You understand? You see? So you see, now we have a problem here. So, but thank you for asking this question. So if I see this question out 100% for PSLE, what percentage is oral take up? Then we have a problem. You know, what was the first thing which I told you? You need to know your syllabus inside out. Correct? You have to know. English, mother tongue, what is the percentage? Is it important? Yes, it's important. Oral is the low-hanging fruit, but you need to be able to grab the fruit down. Okay? Past year prelim papers done, early starter, final tweaks, rest, and exam day routine. Start from the, okay, what a focused afternoon looks like. I'm sorry, there is no doom scrolling here. I'm just giving you one example. It's not a rule, it's just a focus. Because the last few weeks I've been seeing students, O-level, preparing for O-level. The parents told me, oh, not enough time. Then I realized, why not enough time? Because the Sec 4 kid only spends 1 hour studying a day. The rest of the time, focus in other areas. Sure, not enough. Watch TV here, do this, do that, finish. So session 1, schoolwork, composition, mother tongue, homework, we're going to give you a template. So for everybody to fill in their own, right? So 5:30, 6:30, dinner, a real break. Where I say a real break means a real break. Don't use it as time to play games, doom scrolling, TikTok here, TikTok there, because something is not so good. It becomes an addiction. Right? Session 2, PSLE revision, science, literature, 10 maths questions. So we need to have a target. We need to have a proper system. Okay? Okay. Now the next question is, because I see some questions here. Can I read storybooks, right? You can read storybooks as a way to relax, but reading storybooks as a way to improve your English right now is not the time really. Okay? So if you're not so good in vocab, you need to do it by brute force. Brute force means you practice as many questions as possible, know as many words, learn 10 vocab words a day as possible. This is how you prepare for the exam. No more reading of storybooks. You read storybooks only as a form of relaxation. Okay? 2 focus sessions a day, that's it. Sustainable beats heroic. Sure. That's why I said 100%. Right now, 100 days away, we need to have a plan. We can become 2.7 times better, not 100% better, 2.7 times, 270% times better. Like I show you the graph. Okay, so we're starting from today. Students always ask for this, a sample weekly timetable. I'm just giving you some example. Okay, and it is an example. Why? Because all of us are different. All of us are different. Why? We got different subject weaknesses and strengths, number one. And not all our subjects are equally good. Some of you may be equally weak or equally strong. No problem. But we need to allocate. We need to have a plan. That's why I say you need to know yourself. You need to know your weakness. You need to know how to plan. You need to know how to prioritize. Right? And because I told you that back in RI, I knew I was good in English. Because I was good in English, I settled a few things. Number one, my English, I never need to study it, or I just go and take the exam. Number two, literature, I need to study, yes, but because my English is good, I also don't need to spend a lot of time in literature because I can easily write. Okay, so these 2 subjects are the subjects which I needed to study the least. Okay, this is true. English, I don't study in literature. I need to study in terms of memorizing the Shakespearean quotes. Last time I had Shakespearean quotes and so forth, so forth. So that one you need to memorize. Other than that, I don't need to study. But mathematics, I put in a lot of hard work. Physics, I put in a lot of hard work. Another thing I never needed to study as well, Malay. Because the standard of Malay, because I was very good in Malaysia, and the standard of Malay is really, really high. So compared to Singapore, the level is low. Singapore's level relative is just vice versa, right? So Singapore, the English standard is very, very high. So if I look at the secondary 3 or 4 English standard in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, it's just like primary 1 and primary 2 and 3 in primary 2 and 3 in Singapore. Okay, but the reverse is true for Malay. So these are subjects which I don't need to put in a lot of time. Okay, so all my subjects is to put in those subjects which I weaker. And I tell you what happened to me. Okay, and I realized that I could score easily. When I was at RI, I took 10 subjects. Okay, I took 10 subjects because, as I mentioned, I was in the top class in RI. So most students in RI will only take 8 or 9. The usual one is 9. The weaker classes, 3 classes, they take 8. And for me, 3 classes of 4, we take 10. But you see what happened? So all my subjects are all A1. So I tell you what happened. For my prelims, RI prelims, I got 9 A1s, 1 A2. What was my A2? My A2 was for geography. Okay, my A2 was, so for me, if RI prelims, I get 9 A1s, O levels for me was going to be relatively not so difficult. This is the reality because RI exam was a lot harder. So I was pretty confident that I wanted to get, that I would get at least 9 A1s ready for RI O levels. But I wanted the 10 A1s. Why? Because by getting the 10 A1s, I get the RI academic top O level prize. Okay, which is usually given to only 5 or 6 or 7 students. So I needed to get that geography A1. So you see, between my prelim results and my O levels, last time no IP, so all of us took O levels. So between my prelim results at RI and my O levels, I around 7 weeks. Out of the 7 weeks, you'll be amazed. I spent 4 weeks studying for my geography, I spent 4 weeks, Why? Because all my subjects I thought were pretty solid already. I was pretty cool. But I needed the A1 for my geography. I spent 4 out of 7 weeks studied for my geography. And guess what happened? I still ended up with an A2 for my O level. So because I ended up with an A2, I got stuck at the 9 A1s. So I didn't get the RI top academic prize. Okay, but did I regret it? No, because I tried my best. I actually tried to get the A1. But some other geography and maths, Alvin Craig and maths are some other very difficult. That's why right now, if I drive a car, and that was maybe one of the reasons why I got an accident last year as well. I always get into accidents because maps and stuff like that, topography, I always have problems. Something which I cannot really visualize and appreciate. So you see, so my timetable was different. So that's why I said different students, different. So we need to focus. If you need any advice, you let us know. We will conduct another session for all of you. Okay? Ask me anything. Okay, now reading is not studying. I repeat, reading is not studying. The forgetting curve. So what do we mean by studying? Let me give you an example. How do you actually try to memorize things? Some things you really have to memorize. Do you agree? I'm not saying you need to memorize everything, but something you really have to memorize. So let me give you an example of how I train the foreign students to be taught in English. Listen, exactly with this curve. I've seen many people told me I am weak in English. How to improve? I said that, do you do review? No, he said, I don't do review. I just read it and expect to remember. It doesn't work that way. So let me give you, these are the real strategies by real students. I give you one example. This girl was studying in Yishun town, in one of the Yishun primary schools. She came to Singapore in primary 4. Real cases, I got many of these. Just give me an example. That's why I said, how you study. Primary 4, she came to Singapore. The only faces she know is I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I come from China, how are you, so forth, right? So Singapore, obviously, when she came to Singapore, she was failing English. Primary 4 failed all the way. I know her because she came to see me at my stretcher. So primary 4 failed all the way, which is totally understandable. So I told her, what we have to do is that we need to be exam smart right now. So I told her what she had to do. And all parents, listen this carefully because this is a very powerful way to help your kid improve the English. Okay, trust me on this. I've taught many students. Okay, so this is not the most ideal way, but it is an exam smart way, and it's really fast. I've done this with Korean students, Chinese students, and all these things are top students in their school when they come from primary 6. So I tell you, example, this primary 4 student, right? Fail all the way for English in primary 4, which is understandable. So I got her and the mother to come in to see me at my stretcher, Bishan. So I told them, what do you do? I said that right now, there are 7 days in a week, right? I need you to do a couple of things. Number 1, every day, I need you to write 5 words for me. Learn 5 words. It can be from your vocab book. It can be a storybook. I don't care. Anywhere, newspapers, I don't care. Get 5 words. Write down the word write down the meaning of the word, give me an example sentence. And because you're not so good English, you write the phrase in Chinese as well. Okay? So I said, write down the word, know how to spell it, write down the meaning, write down one way you can use this sentence, and write down your Chinese sentence. I said every day you do 10 words. Okay? 10 words. So you see the company, so I said, this is what you do. Monday, you do these 10 words. Tuesday, you do it again. But before you start in 10 words, I want you to go back to Monday and read it again. Okay? Read it again. You don't need to memorize because you're committing to memorize is very hard. Okay? This is one way. I'll just give you an example of how to learn vocab. Then you go Tuesday, you jot down 10 words again. Okay? Then on Wednesday, same thing. You go back to read your Monday, you go back to read your Tuesday, then you jot down your Wednesday words. So you see what happens, So I said one week there are 7 days. I give you a break for 2 days. All you have to do is to learn 5 words. Is to learn for 5 days. Once you're on Friday, you go back to Monday, you go back to Tuesday, you go back to Wednesday. So you see, just by reading those words alone, and this is the way to shortcut the reading storybook. The reason why my English is good because I read thousands of storybooks. So even though I don't check the dictionary, the meaning automatically appear in my head because the context is there. But because we don't read enough storybooks, we got to do it by brute force. Do you understand? So when you are actually doing back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you are actually reiterating the storybook idea. So you see what happened? So you just look at the power of this. So 1 week, you learn 50 words already. Do you agree? 10 words a day. 1 month, how many words do you learn? 50 times 4, 200. 1 year, there are 12 months. I give you a break for 2 months. Go for a holiday, chill, whatever you want. 1 year, 50 words a month. You learn for 10 months. How many words do you learn a year? 2,000 words. Next year, you do it again, you learn 4,000 words. Let me ask you, how many words do you think an average English adult in Singapore knows? How many words? This is not my statistic. This was a statistic given by the National Library. How many words do you think they know? An average English adult, everybody listen, only knows around 2005 to 2006 vocab words. So you just imagine these students, 2,000 words a year. By the time they enter primary 6, no student can touch them when it comes to it. I'm telling you, these are all real cases. The students which we teach, Korean student, the top student of Patron, her brother was the top student on the Patron, her sister was the top student on the Patron just by following this method. Korean students, the Chinese student, what happened? Failing primary 4, by the time she was in primary 6, nobody could touch her, not the Singaporeans, because she did it by a system. What happened to her when she went to RGS? She followed the same method. When it came to the Prime Minister Book Prize, taught in English and Chinese, she was the only one in RGS who got it because I helped her for the interview. You see the power of compounding? So this is what you do, you see. So you cannot just beat it with review. Without the review, you will forget. Passive. So this is one example. Test yourself, don't reread. Right? Seeds need water, just think. So what does a seed need to know? So you can have your cue cards or whatever, your notes or master notes, it really doesn't matter. A great system we use. Use your chapter learning objectives and quick questions. Very, very important. Whatever the test exam will be from the chapter objectives. So this is why I always tell you, don't read your science notes anymore. You can read it. How you study for science? How? You practice your science questions, listen carefully, practice your science questions. You do not know what you know, then you go back to your science notes to look for the explanation. Don't read. Don't keep on reading. It's not going to use. It's not going to help you. You need to see how it is applied. Same thing like mathematics. Okay? Beat distraction, system, find focus. Kill distractions, phone on silent mode, declutter your table one task at a time. Handphones are a big distraction, whatever you say. Okay? Kill it. You sound wisely. Why I say you sound wisely? Because there's no fixed rule. Some people can study with music. Some people can. I personally cannot study with music. I tell you when I can study with music, because many parents and students ask me, the kids at O levels, the kid at PSLE, they play music. I think it depends, right? Because there's no one size fits all. For me, when I'm trying to memorize, when I'm trying to study the concepts, I can never use music because I cannot multi-focus, right? But once I know the concept already, when I practice the math questions, I can use the slide music, not the hard rock, not the soft music. But it depends. Okay, and why I say it really depends, because some people also, when they study, I see my students all the time. Then they're singing. When you're singing, how you study? They're muttering the how you study. So use the sound wisely. So music helps the students, but not everyone. So many focus learners. So you must find what works for you. If it doesn't work, you got to kill it already. Okay. Work in sprints. Okay. So work in sprints. This is the Pomodoro method. It's a well-known method. It depends on whether when you use it. Did I use it in the past? Yes, but at the time it was just my study method. I didn't call it the Pomodoro. Until I grew old, oh, it is called the Pomodoro method. So because it's sometimes difficult to study at long times, right? So study for 25 minutes, break, repeat, break the repeat. It can be 30 minutes, it can be 45 minutes. So you put it in chunks. Okay? You put it in chunks. So it really depends. So different kids have different styles. Some like studying in the morning, some like studying early morning, some like studying in different phases, but it's up to you. Okay? Study body, again, it depends. If somebody but at this age, I'm very frank with you, at your age, at P6, I don't think having study buddy is the best way to go. Okay, so this may apply for older levels, especially when it comes to university type, JC type, where you need some discussion. I think it's valid to some extent. Okay, but study buddy at this time, I will tell you why. Because some of my students, PSLE, they say they want to study, but I cannot study with a friend. But they end up chatting with a friend. And it's no use studying with a friend who doesn't know. Okay, if your friend is really, really strong, then it may be some benefit to you. But if your friend is just average, it's also not going to help you. Okay, and you probably waste a lot of time. So study buddies may or may not. System, find hidden time. Are you sure you really have no time in the bus? Ask yourself what did I learn today. You see, many people in the bus. You see, how did Nehun become one of the top students in RI? I'm just showing you because I told him. He told me Nehun got PSLE 5. Okay, he went to RI. He's one of the top students there, top speaker, top debater, top orator, because he was for the last 7 years. And I'll tell you what happened. So I told him that when you go to RI, you can easily become top in English. He said, Mr. Craig, it's impossible. I said that you listen to what I tell you to do, and it will happen. So what did I tell him to do? I said that right now, you are staying in Boon Lay. To RI, it takes one hour by train. People are playing games all the time, reading a lot of silly stuff, and think he's super disciplined. You realize after this talk, he attended this talk 5 years ago. Because right now he attends as a student guest speaker every day. And after this talk, what he did immediately, he deleted all the app games on his iPhone. So his iPhone to this day has 0 games. Okay, because right now he makes use of his time. That's why it's very difficult. Why is he the top debater in RI? Very simple. Very difficult to beat him in general knowledge, because I told him in the train every day, you read your English, you read the news, you improve your perspectives, you improve your debate skills, you improve your history skills, a lot of things. You improve your vocab, you improve your writing style. I say it's not difficult to talk in English in RI if you are conscientious. And true enough, it happened. So in the ask what did I learn today, waiting in the queue, recall true size kindness. I'm just giving you an example. Don't waste your time. Okay? Okay? Just don't waste your time. 10 minutes here and there every day. So that is why if you play games, half an hour every day playing games. Half an hour every day, 1 week is 3.5 hours. You know, 3.5 hours, how many Chinese words can I learn? How many mother tongue words can I learn? How many compos can I learn the phrases or not? How many science questions can I work on? It's a lot. That's why I said 100 days, we have a lot of time. Not a lot of time, but we have adequate time to make ourselves better. 100%. Okay, do past papers under time. So whether, you see, I hear some students tell me, oh, this past year paper, they've done it before already. Not important. If they've done it before, even better. Right now, you should be getting full marks. Don't you agree? Okay, so there are some things which I find value in doing past year papers, okay? English, you may not do the same paper again, but you need to know what your mistakes are. For instance, if you get the synthesis and transformation question wrong, make sure you must know why that is wrong, so that you don't repeat it again. Your vocab questions, you get it wrong, make sure you understand the meanings, so that you learn these meanings and you won't make them again. So these are things like, so English paper, you need to revisit those wrong questions, okay? But things like maths and science, I think it's okay to redo these questions again, because they're all the same. It's just different numbers. So every time you're starting out, you have the same thing. And if you can do it right, you can score. So this is especially important for things which like English and Chinese. And I give you another real example. There was this boy from one of the schools in Hougang, but this for me, very, very super strong student, the top student from Hougang school from primary 1. So you see what happened, but there was one problem. So one day, I spoke to after this talk, the parent came to see us and he wanted to understand why. He said that my son is actually a very strong student, which I agree. The only problem is this, his science, even though he's a very strong student in science, he only gets 88 and 89. Okay, that is interesting. Very strong science, okay, 89. So I told the parents, can you show me his primary 5 and primary 6 science exams, or even his papers and my stretcher? Okay, because he was taking 2 or 3 subjects and my stretcher. So I was looking at it. Oh, then I realized one thing. He's really a strong science student. So when I look at his P5, end of the year, and P6, at the time, we still at the SA1. Some schools have SA1 or mid or termly test, the day exam. I realized one thing, he had close to full marks. He had full marks for science MCQ, full marks for science MCQ. If at most, all the papers I saw, all full marks. He's open-ended, also all full marks. So that's the interesting question. All full marks. Then why did he get 89 or 88? Why? Very simple. There's only one possibility. He didn't complete the paper. So if you do everything nicely, and I realized the problem, because the problem that I told the father, you give him all the time in the world. He said, yeah, I let him do the paper. He can complete in 3-4 hours. I said, no, your exam in PSLE is how much time? And he replicates this for his school exam. I realized this guy is very unique, everything right. But every science open-ended is a mini essay. So I said, for 2 points, why are you writing a mini essay? For 2 points, why are you writing a mini essay? You don't need a mini, you just need to be concise. The 4 mini points are in with that. You don't write a secondary school type of step 3 mini essay. But that's what I did. Because he did this for all his science questions, he ended up with not enough time. Why? Because the father told him that it's okay. But after that, he changed. I told him, I don't care whether you stop. By the time the clock is up, you have to stop, means you got to stop. So he got to change it because he had to unlearn what he had been doing all the way. And true enough, PSLE, he got his AL1 for science. Okay, so we need to do papers under time pressure. This is for familiar real format. So if some of you do not know the format, you better know it now. Okay, for maths and science, you spot the same question appearing year after year. This will always be true. Okay, and we always tell students, for science and maths, if you practice enough questions, I can almost guarantee you, if you are relatively okay, relatively decent, you should get at least 85, at least. Because these questions are repetitive. Because you see, you only see the 10-year series, you only see the 3-year series of PSLE, but we have been in this business for a long time. Okay, I can literally have the 20-year series for you. And I tell you, even though the format, the questions may have changed, types may have changed over the years, yes, but some of the questions are always there. Okay, so, and that was the reason why I also did very well for maths in RI, because I have done every single question. Because I've done every single question, I do it time, it's just a different number. That's all. Same concept, different number. So as long as you know the different types of answering, you get it right. Okay? And don't be afraid of difficult questions. Don't just give up. Difficult questions are sometimes your friend. It shows you exactly what it takes. Like one of the students last year, one science chapter, big chapter, electricity. Okay, it was a maths. Every time she sees a circle question, total blank out. Don't even try. Anything to do with circles and angles, give up completely. Don't even try. So I asked her why. She said that, Mr. Quack, I don't know a single thing. I said, why? Because he said, in school, I don't understand. I said, in school, don't understand, no problem. Right now, we need to make sure at least you need to understand the basic angles and you have to know, because you cannot afford to skip these angles and circles and other things. It can be 5 or 6 marks, Okay? And these are not the difficult questions. These are all your paper 1 questions. So you have to know. And I told her it's not so difficult to understand, provided you open your mind a bit. And I told her, spend 1 afternoon learning on it. if you still cannot understand, you come and ask us. And she spent the whole afternoon making sure that she understands the basic. Now she's not so fearful at all. So it is important. But if you are fearful of tackling the topics, it will always be there, okay? So you don't rise to the exam. You fall to the level of your practice. Okay, so this is important, right? What is part of the system as well? Make good habits easy to start. Make it obvious. Leave the assessment and calculator on your desk. Okay, make it easy to make it conducive for you to study. Make it easy. Start with the 2-minute rule. Just open the book and do one sum. Make it attractive. Reward yourself a snack or a song after 10 questions. It depends on different. This is especially people who don't know where to start. Okay, the 15-minute trick. Promise for 15 minutes. Starting is always the hardest part. Everything is a matter of routine. Everything is a matter of practice and diligence. Okay. At this point in time, okay. Later I'm going to get Moses and Mavis to share a bit, so that they can go. They also share with you how they studied over the years. Okay, maybe at this point in time. So rest is part of the yes. We cannot study. We need sleep. We need to move, smart breaks, and so forth. These are just general things. Okay, we need to recharge. Otherwise, you run out of. The whole idea is that we pick at the relevant time. Okay, we don't want to get burnt out. Some people pick too late. They pick a prelim. Then does it happen? Yes, it happens. I've seen some students who do very, really well prelims 4, then PSLE end up with 9. Has it happened? Yes, not often, but it has happened before because they pick too early. After that, they tire punctured. First reason, second reason, overconfident. Complacency is always a problem. Okay. Okay. Now I will let Moses take over. Moses and Mavis, if you've got anything to say, as I mentioned, this is Moses. In case you do not know me, you would have seen him. He was actually in the papers a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, on the stuff we are doing here at My Stretcher. And going forward, he and Mavis will also be featured more when it comes to composition writing. So this is Moses. Moses, maybe you share with all students. You can take questions from the floor. Share with them your journey as a student at PSLE level. What worked for you and what didn't, and how you overcame things. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Hey, hi everybody. Now Alvin has shared a lot of things, and Alvin was my mentor growing up, lah. Okay, so a lot of the things he shares here actually is really not just for primary school. It's not even just for secondary school. When we did the Mindstretcher Student Achievement Awards, I guess 2 weeks ago, where we recognize more than 800 Mindstretcher students. Okay, and as Alvin mentioned, not just the top scorers, but people who made a lot of progress, where we feel that, wow, this story can inspire other students. We recognize all of you. Okay, so all of you can create your own story. And if you are starting from a lower base today, somewhere where you are, you know that you are not so strong at certain subjects, actually, then your story is even more inspiring. Okay, when we were sharing about some of these, we asked the students, actually, for those of you who are here, what do you think you did differently? And across everybody, all the students will share that discipline is really important. Okay, and then when we ask the parents, what is it that they found that they take away the most from school? They also share that actually all the subjects, AI is moving so fast, the world is moving so fast. You will have to keep learning new things. It's not just that whatever you learn now is going to be exactly what you use in your work next time. But what they really took away was discipline. Okay, so I want to share with you a few things, but I will first say that if you are not ready to work hard, then all of these advice will not apply to you. Okay, there's no magic timetable. There's no magic timetable. There's no magic study guide. There's no magic notes that if you don't work hard, can immediately boost your scores. Okay, so for me, the first thing I wanted to share is that this ability to work hard, you must work hard. Okay, and hard work is a superpower. When I was in secondary school, like Alvin, at the time when I was younger, we also had not much money. So in RI, like what Alvin was saying, 80-90% of my friends had tuition. Those who had a bit more money, they had one-on-one tuition. And they will go for every single subject. For me, it was incredible, how much time they were spending going for tuition. For me, I will study by myself. But the one and over the years, of course, there's many things that go wrong lah. Okay. Yes, Alvin shared that I'm a president scholar. I was very grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve Singapore. But when I was growing up, I made a lot of mistakes that I still see the students talking about in the chat. Um, I'm not a genius. It's not that I was born knowing how to do maths very well. And then even unlike Alvin, where he says he doesn't have to study for English, I've had to study for every subject. If I play computer games, like in Sec 3, the moment I start playing computer games, I go from the top physics student in RI to failing. You know, the unit that I failed when the unit I failed was units, conversion of centimeters to millimeters, millimeters to meters, kilometers. The simplest unit. If I don't work hard, if I'm playing computer games, I'm very distracted, I won't do well. Okay, and then in primary 5, there was this girl in my class that I liked, so I got very, very distracted again. Only after I stopped focusing on all of these things and I focus on my studies, then my grades do well. Hard work. What can hard work do? Alvin was talking about memorizing vocabulary, right? So for O levels, at that time, my Chinese grades were the highest I ever got was C5, which is in the marks that you're familiar with is about like 60. Okay, 60 out of 100. And like Alvin, I really, really wanted to get a scholarship. So how was I going to get from 60 to A1? I knew that the weakest part for me was that I was very, very bad at my 作文, right? For everything else, and I'll get to this soon, how to study for each subject. But for everything else, actually drills will help a lot. Okay, as in I see a lot of people quite 着急 inside the webinar chat. Actually, it's as simple as go and look at the parts of the subjects that you're not strong in. If you don't know a concept, go and reread the textbook. But once you have read it, just start to practice questions. I've always felt that practicing questions will make me much, much more confident, and it will teach me a lot, right? Because when you read from the textbook, all you have is a very vague idea of the idea. Okay, you have a very vague idea of the concept. But once you start to practice, then you learn to apply it in different situations, right? That's why in Mind Stretcher, if you go and look at what we do, first, our notes are superb because we want you to be able to study just from one place and not just textbook knowledge, but all the techniques and all that you have to extract out from all the different past year papers we have gone through. You know, we have a big curriculum team that is always going through the past year papers and then extracting out notes that you should study. But after that, in Mind Stretcher, everything is practice, practice, practice. Okay, so but for 作文 and for composition writing, that's a bit more challenging, right? How do you practice? So for some of you who are here, I already see that you have onboarded to Che AI. Che AI is where is a tool that we have built. It follows how me, Alvin, and Mavis, how we like to mark compositions and how we like to write compositions. Using Che AI, you will be able to submit your compositions there, get practice, get a graded report. That is exactly how we would have marked it if we can be your one-on-one tutor, and you will get a model composition that you can study. So for me, back then, I have nothing like Che AI, right? So how do I do well for Chinese compo? Well, I asked my teacher in school to just help me find 15 作文, model compositions. Okay, and then I actually memorized everything. I memorized it word for word. And then for the next 100 days, because I also started around here, May, June period. For the next 100 days, I will just write a compo every day. Make sure that I can learn how to use this 15 compos in a way to adapt to new topics. So for those of you who are attending our June bootcamp, this is exactly what we are focusing for English and Chinese as well. Then the June bootcamp, and it's not too late to sign up if you have not signed up, but we are focusing on all these strategic practices. Make sure that you have 10 to 15 model compositions for all the common topics. and then really, really study them. There is this, there's unfortunately this movement away from rote memorization. Okay, I mean, Alvin, Mavis, and I, we will also agree. You do not rote memorize, meaning you don't just memorize and then you don't know what makes it good. Okay, so if you go and look at our model compositions, they are all annotated. We tell you this is why this hook is really good. This is what we're trying to do in the introduction. This is what we're trying to do in the second paragraph. Why is it that we don't say he's angry? Why is it that we talk about his ferocious scowl, his eyebrows narrowing as as his hands clench and unclench in anger? Why do we write like that? We write like that because it is descriptive, right? And we annotate everything. So it's not just about memorizing, but you go and look at how techniques are used, but you cannot just read. You cannot just read and then expect to reproduce this. So Mavis, she has a primary 6 son who I think stepped into the frame briefly just now. Hello. So, let me just share my screen, show you something. Alvin, don't mind,
Yeah.
let me,
Yeah, no, please go ahead.
yeah,
Wait, let me
yeah,
turn
don't
off my
worry.
screen.
Okay.
Okay.
So we just took a look at the people who are practicing on Che AI. Okay, let me move all this away. So for those who are practicing on Compo Coach in Che AI, actually we notice that those people who uh who submit their compositions for marking and then they look at the feedback and then they resubmit, meaning that they go and do their corrections, they go and study the model compositions. Actually, yeah, we are seeing that in just the 3 weeks since we have launched it, we see people whose grades have already improved. Their first to latest same topic score is up 4.2. And in composition, continuous writing, where the full marks is 36, 4.2 is a lot. Okay, and this is just over 3 weeks. In fact, I also wanted to recognize Graham. He has been practicing together with Mavis. Yeah, for us here, we don't build things that just for show. Okay, we don't need publicity. What we want is that we want to make sure that if you're willing to work hard, you have everything that you need. And the problem with composition is that it's too tiring for teachers to mark. Right? If you want to practice even once a week, you're going to be hard pressed to find your school teacher as well as your uh, a personal tutor that will mark it every week for you. Okay, and if you do find them, you have to pay them a lot of money, and not all of us can afford. If you're willing to work hard, now you can use Compo Coach to get the best marking, best feedback already available in your pocket. And so I believe Graham, when he first started to work with Compo Coach, his first draft mark can come in the high teens, maybe 17 or 18. With a lot of hard work, where he studies the corrections, where he reworks it, and then after that to post, and then after that sending it in again. Now his first, I believe his latest composition first draft, he got 33 out of 36. Okay, I mean not all of us are as smart as Graham. Okay, but this is what I mean, hard work. Like Graham, do you feel that you've been working hard on this, or is it always
Yeah,
fun to do this?
it's fun when you look at the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But then like writing the compo, it's not fun. But when you
Exactly.
actually get your marks and they are actually good, that suspense is quite fun.
No, no. So hey, there's something here where he's saying. So the Compo Coach model compositions, if you take a look uh at this, okay, the Compo Coach model compositions are written to be interesting for students to read. Okay, like we don't want to write it such that it's always boring and then it's very hard to access. Okay, we write it such that these are all words. Even if you don't read 1,000 books like Alvin, it's easy to imagine that we can do this. Okay, these are all words that there's no super chim words here, just normal words but put together in an interesting way, put together in a colorful way. Okay, and like we said, every single paragraph, any techniques that we use, we will annotate and tell you. So these compositions are fun to read. But the part of it going into your brain is not just Graham that finds it hard. Anybody here knows who is Benjamin Franklin? Okay. Somebody type in the chat, who is Benjamin Franklin? The electricity guy. Yeah. So he is, yes, one of the guys who people think first discovered electricity. There's a little story about him flying a kite, but he's also one of the founding fathers of America. Okay. And when he loved to write. Okay, one of the famous books back then. Okay, I mean now we got TikTok and all that, right? Last time they don't have all this. They had famous books, popular books. One of the famous books last time was Franklin's Poor Poor Ben's Almanac. Okay, and he was known as a fantastic writer. But how did he get there? He got there by taking other people's work and then he would actually go and rewrite it until he feels that when he's writing, he can understand how the writer was thinking, and then he can actually write. He can predict how the writer writes. Okay, and he did that not for 1-2 days. He did that for 3-4 years until he became a great writer, where he felt that he had the style of his writer. So, is it just Graham? Is it just me, this president scholar, who's telling you to do this? Is it just Alvin who has seen? I think at this rate, more than tens of thousands of students already over the years. No, these have been done for 300-400 years. You want to be a good writer, you got to practice. You want to be a good student, you got to practice. And the act of it going into your head is never going to be easy. That is what is going to separate the people who are here and the people who are not going to put in the work. Okay, it's always going to be tough. Okay, so for me, I practice composition, Chinese 作文, and that's how I got my A1 for Chinese in O levels. And it has been a constant thing for me. If I practice, then there's so many questions early on in the chat. Hey, Che, I am at PSLE score 15 now. Can I get to 8? Can I get to 4? I'm here to tell you, no matter where you are now, 100 days is a lot of time. Okay? If you are willing to put in the work, you can get there. Okay, the tools for all the major components are already there. You just need to put in the work. Okay. So now we go to, I just want to make it practical. So I just share a few quick things about each subject. Okay. So we talk about drills. So I would say composition, you really have to use something like CHE to practice because you need good marking. Okay. So you see the marking is like this. For those of you who don't even know how much the composition as well as how much oral is in PSLE, that's not good. You got to go and learn it. Okay, but for us, of course, this is what we spend all of our time thinking about. So composition also has a very detailed rubric. Okay, there's 5 different things that MOE is looking for. You better know. Okay, you need to know that they are looking that you can address the topic as well as the image. Then once you address it, you can do it in an interesting and well-developed way. Then the language you use, is it accurate? Is there variety of vocab and sentence structure? And the whole thing, is it organized well? Do you spend 5 paragraphs just talking about the setup, but then you rush everything in the last paragraph? So it's still on point, you still use good vocabulary, but you actually don't really spend enough time developing the main part of your story. Or is your whole story just 2 giant paragraphs? Okay, so you will get very detailed feedback here. And it's not just small, this one you spell wrongly, here you miss a comma. No, we will actually rewrite everything for you. Okay, for us, our best teachers, we always, for composition, we need to rewrite to let you see. Okay, so for example, once I receive it, I'll let you go. This is about the dialogue rules, where many students use a full stop here instead of a comma. For things like if you are out of point. So in here, this student is actually writing slightly out of point. We show him how do you rewrite your paragraph to be on point. Okay. So for composition, you will need to use something like that. For something like your oral, for oral, we also have very, very detailed practices for you to do where you can get very detailed feedback by all the different parts of the rubrics. You will see all your feedback put here, every pause that you inserted accidentally, every missing pause, because these are things that the examiners look out for, words that you definitely mispronounce. And then most importantly, we also show you what good sounds like. So we go and find all the parts where you don't really sound expressive. You can listen to how you sound and how a great recording sounds like. Okay, so take a look at these tools. But for most of it, things like in Chinese, there is the MCQ where all the words are sort of similar. For English, there's grammar MCQ, vocabulary. These things, you just need to drill yourself. Okay, in our June bootcamp, we have gone to identify the top categories for each question type. Okay, so what are the most common synthesis and transformation rules that you die should know? So we have already identified this. But if you're not coming for the boot camp as well, for me, just make sure that you practice. Okay. If it were me, I think there have been requests, of how many hours should what should I do every day? Okay. In my opinion, in the June period, you have morning, afternoon, evening. Okay. We don't have to go too crazy, but I would say that we should set a pace of, if you are already more or less familiar with your textbook already, and you just want to start getting ready for the exam, I would aim for about 2 practice papers per day. Okay, like that, 2 practice papers per day over June, you will do 60 practice papers. You divide it over 4 subjects, you probably get about 15 papers a day. And you will start to notice which are the questions that you get wrong. Okay, what I do is that, for me, I always want to be confident. When I go into exam, I want to be confident. Okay, of course, when you go to the exam, there may be questions that you have never seen before. This is to be expected. Okay, and it's even a good thing, because if you prepare a lot and you still see questions that you have never seen before, that means the paper is going to be hard, and that means you're going to be able to differentiate yourself from your friends. Okay, but I like to be confident. I don't like it when I go into an exam. I already know there's things I'm not familiar with. Then I still go to the exam. I feel that I'm going in with a weak link in my armor. Okay, so whenever I make mistakes in a paper, I will simply just take out that question, write it onto a piece of paper, and I will pay attention to that every week. I'll go through. Right, it's a bit very similar to what Alvin was saying. You write down the words that you have learned. A few days later, you go and check back. For me, when I'm churning practice papers, and I do this for everything, and I've done it for PSLE, O levels, A levels, university. In all of these, I am top biology student in RI. A levels, I have as many A's as you can get. I can get it. In university, I am close to a 4.0 GPA. So this works. Okay, this drilling thing definitely works. But you have to do it deliberately, right? If you just keep doing and then you don't go and take the things that you find that you're weak in, you don't go and address them, then no point. What you will end up doing is that you just keep practicing things that you're strong at. You just keep making the same mistakes, and you're just going to tire yourself out. Okay. So I said 2 practice papers a day. You do already, what do you look at? You take out the questions that you are not so strong at. You make sure that you do the corrections. You make sure you internalize. And for me, I will transfer this into my notes. Okay, let's say for science, last time I had this set of notes where each time I make a mistake for a particular concept, I'll just go and write down into my notes. Okay, actually, I forgot. I forgot to use. I forgot to talk about the change, right? For energy questions, something is now higher up. That's why it has greater gravitational potential energy. I just said, oh, because it is high up, it has gravitational potential energy. I forgot to write about the change. So every mistake I make, no matter how small, goes into this, so that I know you cannot hurt me anymore. I keep building up my knowledge base, and I want to share this with you guys, because sometimes we think that really good students are out of reach. No, okay. If you do not do this, you cannot score well. Okay. So drills. For the a bit open-ended kind of components like composition, reading aloud, please use the tools that MindStretcher has developed, okay, that we have been building. And we built this as educators, not as technologists. Yeah, we built this from people who have been there, done that in many, many different parts of the education system as well as life. And then for the rest of it, actually there are tools coming as well for this drilling. But before it's out, I want all of you I want all of you to get started already. I want to be under no illusions. This is the time to start practice papers. Okay, you have already covered. Your schools have already covered everything that is going to come out on PSLE. Okay. In July, they'll do some additional revision. They'll get you prepared for your prelims. But if you wait until prelims to start preparing, that will be in close to August, and then suddenly September PSLE is upon you. Okay, so don't wait already. Better to just, if you're scared that you will start to do badly in your practice papers, then good. Go and do it and find out where you are weak. Because this is all within the comfort of your home. Nobody needs to know. Okay, so I saw just now when we were doing the Mentimeter, people were talking about stress and pressure. They find that is the biggest thing one of the biggest challenges. How do I cope with stress? The most important thing is that we are all on a journey. Yeah, if you do a practice paper, you find that you're not doing well now. It is what it is. Yeah, it doesn't mean you are a poor student. It doesn't mean you're a very good student. It just means that, okay, today when I did the practice paper, this is my results. Okay, and then how do I get better? Right, Alvin talked about 1% every day, you get 2.7 times better. Okay, 270%. But I tell you, when you start working in this manner, deliberately, taking note of your errors and all that, your progress will not be 1% a day. Yeah, I would expect each of you, if you do this over June, I'm quite sure in each day you will improve by 5 to 10%. Okay, then once you are closer to like 85, 90, then maybe you will start to run into, okay, there are all these challenging things that I'm starting to run into. Each time I do, I'll see a new one. It's not my cookie cutter things really, but that 0 to 85, all the cookie cutter questions, that is purely a function of how hard you're willing to work. Okay. Of course, we are going to do more workshops through July to revise more things. Okay, but it's purely a function of how hard you want to work already. Okay. So drills and then Cher AI. The last thing I wanted to quickly talk about is the timetable. So timetable is critical. Okay, whenever I have done very well in my life, I've had a timetable. Whenever I felt that I feel like I'm trying to work hard, but everything is not clicking. I feel very unfulfilled. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm not getting to where I want to go. It's because I don't have a timetable. Why? Because no matter what you dream, no matter what your goal is, if you don't have a plan of how you're going to spend your time, the time is what is converted into results. Yeah, you don't put in the time, you don't spend your time deliberately, then you cannot get anywhere. Yeah, that's actually just what discipline is. Discipline is not some armor within your soul. It's not that your brain works in a particular way. Nowadays there's this term lock in, right? Okay. Discipline is just that when you want something, then you should do something, then you do it. And you'll find that students, even the adults in this room, sometimes we struggle with it too. Yeah, it's not meant to be easy. Yeah, can you do what you should do? And if you do what you should do, you will go very, very far in life. Okay, if you don't do what you know you should do, then when things don't play out, who is to blame? Yeah, so this muscle of I know what I should do, I do it. If you start training now, it's an investment that will pay off forever. Yeah. Right now, when Elvin was talking about, okay, no matter how much time you have, maybe you have your sports that you're still doing. Of course, you should try and taper these down already as you're going closer to PSLE. But maybe you have other commitments. Maybe you live very far from your school. So when people say that I have 7 hours a day to practice, maybe for you it's more like 4. Okay, this is what we have to work with. When I was working, I actually felt that my salary was too low. Okay, so I decided to go and set up a small business in the evenings. So what did I do? Every day after dinner, this is before I had kids. Okay, for those of you, everybody parents, once you have kids, you have even less time. But before I had kids, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day, I'll just work on my business on the weekdays after work. And then on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, each day, I spend 5 hours. Okay, in the morning when everybody else goes out for breakfast, go and jalan-jalan, okay, I will just work, from morning to early afternoon. And just like this, bit by bit, suddenly 2 hours every weekday, 5 hours every weekend, I'm spending 20 hours, I have 20 hours, working on my business every week. And then with that business started to make about $10,000 a month. So all the muscles that you're building now to, okay, Alvin talked about, you set a goal. Okay, don't be shy. What do you really want? What will inspire you? Yeah. What school do you want to go to? If it's a school nearby and that's where you want to go to, great. Okay. What do you really want? We need to know. Okay. You need to know for yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to drift through life and then life will make the decision for you. Okay. So decide what you want. Then after that, let's work out a timetable. Okay, timetable is not, when I see people asking for sample timetable, actually it's very hard. Okay. How much time do you have? What time do you want to wake up? What time do you want to sleep? Start there. Okay, you got your sleeping time. Then you want to have something to look forward to in a day. For me, I love it when I'm focusing on my studies. I will always make my meal time something I look forward to. Okay, so meal times, I will watch TV and eat. Okay, I already know. Just like that, I'm going to get a nice series in for lunch, and then dinner, I let myself watch half a movie. Then next week, tomorrow, I watch another movie, another half of a movie. Then in a week, I get to watch 3 movies. Yeah, so I really don't treat myself as a machine. You need to have something you look forward to. Okay, but now you have your lunch, you have your dinner. Okay, everything in between, now you have something to play with already. Okay, so start to work out. I saw Emily in the chat getting quite frantic about how to plan a timetable. Don't need to be frantic, Emily. You say that if all 4 subjects you have issues, then okay. Then let's go and set up, okay? Rotate through the 4 subjects every other day. Okay, I told you already got 2 slots, right? You have lunch to dinner and then dinner to the evening. Okay, so we treat it as we have 2 slots every day. One, even when you start school, you also have these 2 slots because you come back from school. Okay, so then start planning from there. If you are weaker, like I was in Chinese, I will spend a bit more time on Chinese through the week. Okay, and then what do you fill it with? You fill it with practice papers. When you do practice papers, you take out the things that you're not clear about. You make sure you revise them. For Chinese, if vocabulary you didn't know, make sure you memorize that. As long as this question comes up, I'm not going to make a mistake anymore. You do that, you'll be unrecognizable in July. Okay, so anyway, I'll stop talking here. Yeah, so hard work. Without hard work, all of this advice is worthless. Worthless. Okay, you're not willing to put in the work, then this advice is worthless. Okay, but if you're willing to put in the work, then don't have to be a genius, don't even have to be anybody special to produce the results that you want in your life. Okay, which is that practice with Che AI for the components that you're not that require very open-ended feedback. Drills for everything else. All the MCQ things, all the synthesis transformation, just drills. Okay? And then every time you make a mistake, write it down. Just do this. This is what has worked for everybody. Okay? And so avoid the things that Alvin was talking about. Don't spend time rereading textbooks. Don't spend time re-highlighting your notes. These things we already knew it didn't work last time. Now all the science is super clear that it doesn't work because it doesn't go in. It's just, I think in the academic papers they just call it, this is play acting learning. Okay, you're pretending to learn. Okay, so just reread it. You have a sense ready. Go to the practices. You're not doing practices. You're not learning. Okay, I'll stop there. Alvin, if you wanted to re-emphasize anything,
Okay,
and I
yes.
know Mavis as well.
Okay, come. Okay, for those of you who asked about access to AI, not to worry, we will be conducting a series of workshops on this very soon so that everybody can use it productively and effectively. Okay, so this
we
session
have
is just
conducted quite a few already, but
okay.
in this next week, parents and students will be handing out some flyers in class. Okay, that flyer will have onboarding sessions. So we'll conduct 5 onboarding sessions over the next 1.5 weeks. If you are not sure how to log in, you log in already, don't know what to do, just come to one of them, just ask the questions, we will show. Okay, but the instructions will also be there. There's already about few hundred MindStretcher students practicing every day. In fact, I get Telegram messages every time one of you works on something. You see how many people are practicing. Okay, like this is just today. I'm still scrolling. So people are working hard, guys. Okay, and this is what matters. Okay, so if you're not already inside, I just put the link here so that those of you who are if you're not sure how to redeem your code, I put the link into the chat again. Okay, but for the rest of the students and parents, if you require more help, just please look out for a flyer that will come into your MindStretcher class next week. Okay, bring it home to your parents. You can log on together. The important thing is also after you log in, you make sure you join this WhatsApp and Telegram channel, because for me, I have my own journey, and I work with all 3 of my siblings when they were studying. Okay, my siblings are all different. Okay, my brother Isaac and Joseph, they're less strong academically, but they're very, very smart guys. Okay, and then I have another sister, Rachel. So as the elder brother, I've worked with all of them. But I also want to hear from parents and students, what is it that you still are struggling with? Then I will prioritize what we are building. And I'm talking about this, we are building this in real time. I am personally involved in building it. Okay, so you have a very strong person who's very strong academically, who has seen a lot of things, who also knows AI and engineering. I'm trying to work closely with the parents. Those who are in the channels, then they are sharing with me their issues. Okay, and then after that we can adapt accordingly. Okay.
Okay.
So just one last thing. There's something just came in. Cherish Ho. My girl is doing well in all subjects, but she wants to do ordinary and aim low at PSLE score of 11 to 15. Okay, so just want to address this, which I think Alvin is just about to talk about. So for the students here, sometimes we wonder, why should we aim high, right? Why put pressure on ourselves? For me, right, it's actually not about just the credentials and not just about what opportunities you want. Of course, for me, you are very free to decide what kind of life you want. Ultimately, it's going to be your own life. So you got to decide what you want. Okay, and nobody can force you to act in a particular way. But for me, one thing that always helped me to come back to like some truth, right? Because if we can decide anything, then why would we take the harder way out? Why would we try to work hard? For me, I actually just look at where I came from. Okay, so in the MindStretcher Student Achievement Awards, I shared this. I shared that actually, for the fact that I can grow up well in Singapore, when I was younger, my parents actually split up. Okay, and we were really in a bad place financially. And then my mother, Christy, started MindStretcher back in 2002. And she started it because she just wanted a way where it's not a normal 9 to 5 job. At least if it's a business, then she thought that she can work on the business and still be there for her 4 kids, because she was the only one doing everything for all of us. And you imagine how much work that takes, right? For you, you're studying now. It already feels like hard work, right? When you do a business, you have to go and find the location. You got to go and figure out how to market. You got to go and paint the center. You got to hand out flyers. You got to set up your office. Got to go hire people. You got to go and relearn the curriculum because we're adults already, and then we have to go and make sure things are working. Then every time there's a problem, people come to you. And she has 4 children, right? So she worked really, 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 really hard. And that's why for me, when I was growing up, I didn't even know how hard it was. She just told me, okay, Moses, you won't be seeing your dad around much. I need you to step up and help with the family. That's all I knew. I didn't know that it was so challenging for her. But as I grew, I started to realize how much of a superwoman she had been. And each of our parents is doing that for us today. right? They are in their own way, they have gotten your family to where it is today, right? They have worked hard, they have provided for you. That is why you're so intelligent. You're here to, you can ask these kind of questions. You can work so hard, because your parents have worked hard. And then I found out that, as I talked to my my grandmother, I realized that my mom can only be where she is because of what my grandma did. My grandma family, they were so poor, they were in a kampong that they don't even have their own cutlery. My grandma used to go to the landfill and take the disposed of Singapore Airlines cutlery, wash them so that they can have nice silver cutlery at home. And she does this when they come back, she's very, very smelly, but she does this for the family, And my granddad was a taxi driver who works a midnight shift. So for them to go from that to my mom being the first in the family to go to university, and then for me, I can become a president's scholar, I can elevate the family, I can work on more meaningful things. When my mom was working, it was not a question of what she's interested in, it's whatever it takes to put food on the table. At least for me, I get to ask myself, what do I find exciting? And then I work on that, I make sure I help people with Mind Stretcher, with Shui Ai. So for all the students here, actually I want to challenge you lah. Okay, go and ask your parents what it was like growing up. Understand that you are at the tip of the spear of a long, long line of people who have sacrificed to bring you to where you are. Then for me, that gives me a lot of drive to. I don't want to be the first one in my family to step backwards. So if I have a good brain in my head, I've got good conditions, I have a nice room to study in, I have a table, then I should at least do better than my parents. That is what I took away from that. Okay, so I share that with you. After you hear this, if you still feel that, okay, in your own life, you are deciding to go another way, I think that is up to you lah. Okay, but for me, is a very, very powerful motivator that I don't want to be the one that sets the family back. So if I have a chance, I'm going to give it my all. Okay, and that has helped me to work hard whenever I feel tired, because I realize everybody else has worked much, much harder. So let me give it a good try.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Moses. I want to spend last 10 minutes on this, but I want to reiterate what Moses said. I once part 4 year a word about the most important people in the room, and I tell you why. When I was in primary school in Barapahat, I was a top 20 student. I was not even the top, top 20 in my primary school. 20 in primary school is really nothing. It's nothing like the Singapore school. But why did I suddenly make the transition from top 20 to number 1 in my secondary school in Barapahat? Just through this. Because after I finished my primary school, back in those days, right, we have this Malaysia, we talk about IP system. Malaysia has the IP system way, way earlier. Don't need to study. Okay, which is why for us, our true train was all the way from primary school. From primary school, we go to a fixed secondary school. Fixed secondary school, we go to a fixed junior college, so as to speak. So we had the true train all the way back in the 1970s. So when I read comments about people in Singapore recommending that we have a true train system, for me, it doesn't really work. Because back in those days, we were not really motivated to study. Why? Because all of us go to the same school. So we must understand that your PSLE serves as a differentiator in a way. It puts you into a school which is right for you at that point in time. It doesn't mean that that school will be ultimately make you successful, but it provides you with certain conditions. So how did I transition from being a top 20 student suddenly to the top student in my secondary school? I tell you why. Because when I was 13 years old, I looked around and I saw my parents working 7 days a week. I told you they earn 1,200 ringgit, 7 days a week, and I realized one thing. And I asked myself, what can I do to make my life better? And my father told me that we don't have money. The only way is for you to get a scholarship to come to Singapore to study. So that was what woke me up. And I realized that my parents work 7 days a week. And what must I do in order to repay them? I cannot help them in their work. I cannot earn money for them. What I can do, a couple of things. I do all the household chores every day, clean the floor, mop the things, and so forth, because I was the eldest of 4. Secondly, I had to study very hard. So from that day onwards, Sec 1, suddenly I made a transition. Every day, I put myself in my room and I studied back in Malaysia 4 hours a day. Suddenly, I had this discipline, this inner drive, 4 hours a day. And just like that, I became the top student of my school. Okay, and that was how I got shortlisted for the MOE RI scholarship. So these are all important. That perception. Okay, so everything is a matter of personal thing. Some of us are born in better circumstances, but many of us, our parents, are the ones who try to make ourselves better. So for those of you who are impatient, complain about their parents nagging here and there, make no mistake, all parents want their kids to be better. Right? There's a reason why they send you to Mind Stretcher. There's a reason why they send you for all the classes, because they want you to have a better life. This is a fact. So you owe it to them. You owe it to them to give your best effort. It doesn't mean that you become the top student. It doesn't mean that you get the score you absolutely want. But if you have your best effort, nobody can say anything. And that is, you can give yourself a pat on the back. And all of us are different. Very, very important. Okay. So again, these are real kids. These are many. We have many of these students every single year. In fact, some of them, I'm going to get them to speak because all of them have different. So like this year alone, if you read the testimonial, if you read the MSAA awards, we have 700 students getting this a year. There was one girl at TKHS, she got 10 A1s this year. If you realize, so when you hear her speak, 10 A1s is one of the top students in Singapore already. Whatever the school, it really doesn't matter, right? So when you hear what you say, Sec 1 and Sec 2, she struggled with exams, right? Because she lacked the motivation. But after that, she started being very disciplined, very hardworking, and she addresses everything, never gives up. Exactly. You're not going to get anything without hard work. If you are reasonably smart, hard work can make you become a superstar. If you are okay, hard work can still get you to beating a lot of people. This is what we say with absolute confidence, okay? So let's talk about these awards. I attached the letter to you already. And this awards is not just the 150. 150 is the cash, but obviously there are the vouchers as well, the scholarships as well. These are the things which we don't tell people, but these are all the things which we try to give, inspire. Some of you ask, what is a valedictorian? In your university, you're only the top student, we get the valedictorian. But here at My Stretcher, we believe in giving as many students as possible. So we have a few valedictorians per score category. So 4 to 6, you get a few valedictorians. 7 to 8, you get a few valedictorians. 9 to 10, you get a few valedictorians. 11 to 12, you get a few valedictorians as well. Because we want to try to inspire many students as possible. Okay, same thing like the Best Progress Awards, Special Achievement Awards. These are not limited by number. This depends on which student steps up. So I think it's something for us, because we want to try to recognize and inspire all students as much as possible. And this is not the only thing, because we offer scholarships, mentorship as well. So it is, and many of the super students which we have in our ecosystem, super students in the schools itself, whether it's IP school, O-level school, it really doesn't matter. We have them all. All these things, many of them belong to this category, right? So as long as you are in our ecosystem, we try to help. Now, 2 steps I will take starting today. Step 1 and step 2, make them specific. I'll do 10 maths question, 20 maths question. I'll not waste time, so forth. You told us yours was a promise. All these things has been given to you, right? And I want you to sign this contract, okay? So we will make this available to you so that you can hopefully submit them online. In the past, we used to track them manually, but it's a hassle. So we try to put up online. And what happens, because when you put this, we have your commitment. We are going to remember you, and there may be a special prize for you in terms of different resources, different opportunities. Okay, this is our promise, because this is what I have done over the years, ever since I joined Mind Stretcher, specifically in the year 2007. So I've been here for pretty much a long time, right? Over the years, we collectively at Mind Stretcher have helped many students. And take note of this contract, because this contract encapsulates everything. Number 1, what score are you trying to achieve? Every day you need to be specific what you're going to do every day. You're going to follow your timetable. You're going to focus in the studies. You are going to devote at least 3 hours in the study, so forth. I think nothing is going to happen without a lot of work, okay? You may be smart, but hard work will make you become a superstar. I can absolutely assure you that if you're not in the super smart category, no problem. That's not important. What important is for us to be the best version of ourselves, okay? One distraction will cut out, whether it's TV, watching YouTube's, Instagram shorts, TikTok, or whatever, playing computer games, all these things occurs all the time. When it gets out, I remember why. So for me, the main motivation factor, as I told you before, and that was the reason why I didn't go back to Malaysia when I failed my mathematics. I told you I bought my bus ticket already, right? The main problem was that when I heard my father's voice, I realized that I cannot let him down, because I was the eldest of 4 kids, and I was supposed to be the example for them. And being an example is important because my 3 younger brothers, because of me, and I didn't give up, my 3 younger brothers also subsequently got the MOE ASEAN scholarship, which is pretty rare because very few families have 4 ASEAN scholars in the family. So all of us got a scholarship because we set certain standards, we set certain examples. So I think it is important. Okay, we talk more about that and as many times. So this is something which we so a couple of things which we will share with all students, right? This contract online. I think timetables, I'm going to give it like different types of timetables because all of us are different. It is, remember, these are not cast in stone. This is just a suggestion for those who are lost. So we're going to give timetable templates by subject, by focus areas, by type of student, just in case. So you adapt as needed. I think it's important because we have many requests asking for timetable. So we're going to provide them. We're going to provide this contract and the slides and the MSA awards. MSA awards are important as well. Why? Because at least we got something to it is a bonus lah. It is a bonus. Obviously, the price for me is not so much the most important thing. The most important thing is that we have something. It is your ultimately we must develop that inner motivation. Okay, inner motivation, the intrinsic, what we call intrinsic. Intrinsic is inner. Outer motivation is good because some of us are motivated externally. At this point, when I was a young kid, I was also motivated by profits, by prices, by money. Yeah, all these things we do recognize. All of us are different, but so we hope that through this phase, at least there is something tangible, something real. Okay, and we will give you the opportunities to do all these things. So we will send all this by online, and the future version of you is waiting. Reach for the skies. The only question is we're willing to do the hard work, okay? So some of you asked that, there is no pressure. No problem. All of us live with different amounts of pressure, all of us, but some amount of pressure is always important. And I tell you why, objectively. Without pressure, there will be no need to do anything. You just imagine that if I remain in Malaysia, being the top student in Malaysia, anyone, and being among the top 30 students in RI, would I have changed without that pressure? Would I have changed without the statement from the RI principal that your job is to beat all the Singaporeans? If not, we're going to terminate your scholarship. This is real pressure, and this pressure is real. Okay, for me, I'm stuck in no man's land. So you see, why I say this is important, because I'm going to tell you exactly who retained the scholarship from my batch. 18 students, half of us retained the scholarship, half of us didn't. Why? Very simple. The other half couldn't beat the Singaporeans. So those who couldn't beat the Singaporeans didn't retain their scholarship. Now, what is the implication? If you look at the profile of those retaining their scholarship, let me tell you, we generally fall into 2 categories, okay? For us, the ASEAN scholars, we fall into the medium income, the poor, or the super rich, because there are some of my friends who came from very rich families. This is real as well. But for 80% of us who retained the scholarship, we came from circumstances which were not so wealthy. So we were forced to work for him. Like the top student I met, Professor Chenini, nobody could touch him at RI. Top student in RI, top student in Raffles Junior College, top student in NUS Medical Faculty. If you go to NUS, if you look around the doctors in Singapore, very seldom you see a doctor with MBBS honors. MBBS honors, you look around, very, 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 very few. He is one of them. Okay, so he was top student there. And why was he? And his circumstances, he has no father, mother is a cleaner. He's super smart, yes, but also super hardworking. Super smart, but super hardworking. He became a superstar. Nobody could touch him in RI. Numero uno. Okay, even though it came straight away in Sec 3. Why? Super smart, super hardworking. So all of us must need to work hard. Then we can achieve. So the pressure, again, is important because without the pressure, I will also not be in that position. Otherwise, I will just chill. Right? In Malaysia, I really did not have to study so much because the syllabus was easy and the competition was not there. So the environment in RI gave me that impetus. So it depends on how you work. It depends on the element of pressure. Do we need to have pressure? I think we all need to have some form of pressure. It doesn't mean that we need to have intense pressure. Intense pressure is obviously no good. But of course, if you don't study, if you are pretty lax, the pressure will start to build, right? So the whole idea behind this 100 days is to make your pressure lessen little by little. I think this is important. Ultimately, why I always say, why do we try to our best to get a good result for PSLE? I'm not saying you need to get the best. We need to get some results so that we try to go to a school where more people study. Why is it important? Because if you are immersed in an environment where many people don't real study and they play, then we may be influenced. You can change, of course, okay? But this is always why we want to have more options. More options will always be better. But again, I want to repeat, your PSLE will not define who you are. Some of us are pretty chill at PSLE. Later, when you go to secondary school, we will have many of these secondary school seminars, education as well. How about improve English, holistic journey, and so forth? The whole idea is how you develop yourself, and everybody is different. So even if you don't do as well as what you expected for PSLE, no problem. When you go to secondary school, it will always be a completely new chapter. And trust me when I say that whichever secondary school you go to, the school is not going to make you who you are. The school will provide a certain environment that is from there that you work. Am I a product of RI? I'm not a product of RI, because if I'm a product of RI, I will not be able to speak 100%. 95% of all RI students cannot speak confidently. I'm not a product of RI. And my studies, I was pretty much studied on my own because RI provided me the competitive environment, but my grades, everything is generally, I would attribute 90% to my own personal hard work, because half the time I didn't understand what the teacher was saying because the teachers were not so eloquent or not so inspirational or pretty boring. Obviously, there are some very, very good ones, but pretty average ones and not ideal ones also quite common. Okay, so this doesn't apply. This applies to practically all schools. So ultimately, it is how you write yourself. That's why everybody must not have the idea that just because I get a score, I'm fixed, I'm made for life. No. Even if you go to this school, it's not your dream school. It really doesn't matter. It's what you do in that school that ultimately determines how you progress later on in life. I cannot say this enough, okay? It's not the school which makes you. You may have a brand behind your school, but it's not going to ensure that you become a good student in that school. 100%. Okay? Can. So I think that's about is and no skibidi tricks, no skibidi toilet, no skibidi pranks. Now it's not the time, okay? Because I see some skibidi, oh my skibidi this. I mean it's pretty cool, but you're not going to say that in your oral exam, right? You know, teacher, I got this skibidi craze going on in my school. What are my skibidi? No, you're not going to say that in an oral. It's pretty cool for some other platforms you can provide, but after that we'll talk about it after a PSLE. Right now, your job is to focus the best for your PSLE. Then we go on from there. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a couple of things. Slides you already have. If you don't have, don't worry. We will send it by. We make sure all of you achieve it again, and we're going to send you the templates for the timetable, different timetables, and some key documents which we believe will help you. Can? And the MSA Achievement Awards. Just in case you don't have. Everything is a journey. Everything is a journey. But I want to stress again, 100 days, we still have time. For PSLE, it's still enough time. Okay. If you talk about A-levels, it becomes a little bit harder. Okay. But you still can make some changes. Is it realistic to jump a couple of grades for PSLE? I will tell you, if you work hard enough, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. So for me, aiming to just jump one band or one AL is for me the minimum. But can you jump 2 or 3 or even 4? The answer is yes. If you start now, if you use your time constructively, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right motivation, and you must have the belief in yourself. Believe that if I try my best, so always believe in this. I try my best, but if my best is not good enough, no problem. Okay? No problem. If your best is not going to try, because PSLE for me is just one journey. After that starts your secondary school. We talk about that in our post-secondary school seminars. Okay, so Mavis, anything you want to add? Or Graham, any nuggets of experience of advice you want to give your fellow PSLE students?
If you work hard enough, it is possible to do better. Basically, what he said, I have the same point of view-ish.
You have the same point of view. Is that the reason why you're wearing a Germany soccer t-shirt? I assume that you believe that you can play
I
for
wear this because this is the only decent jersey that I like.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's a good answer. I thought you wanted to represent the Germany soccer team, which is possible for you.
What?
Okay, yeah.
I'm Singaporean.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank all parents and all students for joining us at the seminar. I know that we have exceeded the time, but I thought that it's important to share all of this. Okay, it's all because this is whatever we say to you is not just relevant for your PSLE. I can absolutely assure you this. It's relevant for you going forward as well. How to thrive in secondary school, be it polytechnic, be it in JC, be it in university, and life lessons. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and do watch out for more of these informative seminars. And for those of you who are not on Joy AI, please log on to the platform. Please attend our sharing sessions. Please and our TechCon sessions so that you learn more. Okay, so thank you very much and goodbye. And the survey results we will send to you as well. We send to you as well. So you see, the good thing about this survey is you realize that many of you are aiming for quite competitive grades, which is okay. Okay, it shows that this is where the irony is. The hardworking students want to work harder, or the hardworking students want to improve. Whereas the students who are not here, maybe some of them are pretty good, yes, but some of them cannot be bothered. So I would recommend everybody try to attend. So even if for me it's like that, even when you're working, when you're doing the work, you can just log in and listen to what we say. Do you agree? Do you agree? Yeah, you can just listen to what we say while working. That's why I said there will always be nuggets of information for you to learn. That over time you become better and better. Okay, I'll take some last questions. I see some students raising their hands. Do you want to speak before we end the session? Ayan Kaka. For Cher AI, are the compost, in addition to those, there will be a lot of variations in addition to what you do in class? Answer is yes. Okay? So don't worry, we are here to help you as much as possible. And remember, all kids are different. There is no one fixed model. So I just don't want you to stereotype yourself. Okay, just because you're in this category, you're doing not so well, you compare yourself. No comparison. Most important is not to compare with others. Most important is compare with your inner self. Today, tomorrow I'll be better. So like what Moses said and what maybe said, the 1% is just, for me, a conservative. I'm giving you the bare minimum. The bare minimum. And I tell you why it's easy to improve. I just want to understand, why is it easy to improve by 5% every day? Very simple. Your vocabulary is so much. If you learn 20 words already, if you're willing to put in 20 or 30 words instead of the 5 words, you already increase by a couple of percentage. If you don't know one scientific concept, you make sure that you learn it, spend one whole day learning it, practice all the questions related to the topic for science and mathematics, already it is a 4-5% improvement. Okay, so the 1% improvement which we gave you just now was just the bare minimum. Do you understand? How much you progress is entirely up to you. But make no mistake, we need to work hard. We work hard, we can achieve something. Okay? Yes. And I always tell you, even though you're chill, relax, I think we should try to aim for at least 1 band higher. Why? So as to give yourself more options. Okay? Ken? So thank you very much, and thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Mavis. Thank you, Mazes. Thank you. So this is an academic award speech again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next time I'm going to change the ending. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you again.